Accu-Stats Video Productions presents from the Sands Regency Hotel in Reno, Nevada, the Sands Regency number 15. I'm Bill Incardona, along with Grady Mathews. Together, we're going to bring you what we feel is going to be one of the most exciting matches that we've seen in this tournament up to date because of the two fine players that are in the semifinals. Is it just coincidental, or are these two players supposed to be here? The number 2 ranked player in the world, Buddy Hall, facing the number 3 ranked player in the world, Nick Varner.
Well, Billy, they deserve it. They've earned it, and I've never been more exciting. What a venue for Championship 9-ball. This is the 15th edition of the Sands Regency 9-ball Open. And what more could you ask for? I might drive 1,000 miles to watch such a match.
And wouldn't you know that the winner of this particular match will go on to the finals to meet the number 1 ranked player in the world, Johnny Archer? I mean, what more can you say about Johnny Archer that he didn't say on the table yesterday?
Well, he defeated Nick Varner. Let's rephrase that. He routed Nick Varner 13 games to 1. And he shows no signs of abatement in his quest for this prestigious title.
But either one of these two players, for sure, can defeat Johnny Archer. I've seen Buddy Hall come to the table with a demeanor second to none. Nick Varner also. Buddy Hall, 1991 Player of the Year. Nick Varner just recently was inducted into the Hall of Fame. I look forward for a close and sharply contested match between these two fine players, Grady.
Well, it's seldom that I don't learn something, and I've been playing the game for a living for more than 30 years. Watching Buddy Hall and Nick Varner, certainly they're two of the more knowledgeable practitioners of this time-honored and difficult pursuit. That we know and love as pocket billiards.
And immediately the first break is an indication of how well Buddy Hall is playing, stopping the cue ball in the center of the table, pocketing 2 balls on the break.
And the 3-ball, which is the ball after the 1-ball, the 1-ball's at the far end of the table, the 3-ball's just below and to the right of the spot. And I believe he's going to have to go 2 rails here. I don't think he can slow spin this ball. Might be able to. I can't quite gauge the severity of the angle from this viewpoint. I think he'll go straight up and down the table 2 rails. Oh, my goodness. All right, Nick is not going to be able to see this 1-ball. He's going to have to shoot between the 3 and 7 here with low left-hand English.
And one might say, why doesn't he shoot around the 5 where the 1-ball's hanging? And I do not believe he has enough room to pocket the 1 if he shoots behind the 5 and into the side cushion. He's taking a long look at it now. It looks from the view that we have on the monitor that he may be able to make it.
Might be able to. Looking at the monitor, I thought the 5 was squarely in the way. At any rate, that was an inadvertent and rather unexpected miss early on in this contest by Buddy Hall. I expected him to come out there and just make everything.
Well, Buddy Hall has been really getting out of the gate very quickly. In most of his matches, I was surprised to see him hang up the first shot of this match, and in such an important match. This is the semifinal match.
Of course, Buddy, he's so composed. I mean, he's never out of a match. I've seen him miss 2 or 3 pretty makeable shots and then come back without giving it a second thought and run 6 or 7 racks.
Well, Buddy, I believe, lost his 3rd match in this tournament and went on to win, I don't know, another 7 or 8 matches in a row.
All right, Nick was able to get around the 5-ball. Now, he's going to have to go into the 4 here, Billy. The 4-ball on the end rail, the bottom end rail. I don't believe he can kill this or anything. He's going to have to hazard going into the 4-ball. Unless I misgauge the angle, and I don't think I am. If it's thick enough, of course, he'd rather not go into the 4. Okay.
Well, he felt that he could draw the ball to the side cushion, which apparently he has done, and narrowly escaping with the shot on the 4. I myself thought that the angle that he had, at least the angle that we saw, wasn't available to go into the side cushion in the fashion that he did, but he's at the table. He's the man with the stick in his hand, and once again he's proven us wrong, and that's why he's there and we're here.
Well, we can't gauge how steep the angle is either. Personally, I thought it was about 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. He went into the 4-ball anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Now he'd like to either spin this in, slow spin it in with low right-hand English, or go straight up and down the table, which is a better course, I think, since he has to stretch.
He has to be careful with the 8 ball. If he goes into the 8, he may not come up with the shot on the 5. Well, he was kind of, I would think, a little lucky or fortuitous to come up with the shot on the 5 after going into the 8.
Well, I don't think so. If he'd have struck the 8 thickly, he would have had a pretty easy cross-corner bank. And these tables, of course, possessed of cavernous receptacles.
Didn't seem that way when Buddy shot the 1 ball at the beginning of this rack. I thought he hit it fairly well.
That's true, but there's no question about how easy the pockets are. Now he can draw this or follow it 2 rails. He does not want to be straight in. He's looking at it. And I don't know that he's got much of an angle here. He might be able to follow that out of there a couple of rails. Of course, that'd be high left-hand English. I don't believe he can draw this out of here, Bill. Do you?
Well, I really can't tell exactly what type of an angle he does have.
At any rate, it's the first game of a very important match. Oh, okay, he was underneath the 8 slightly.
And just slightly. Handling that shot extremely well.
As you would expect.
1988, 1989 Player of the Year. It's been some time since Nick has captured a title in the 9-ball tournament. And he really wants this one badly. After game number 1, Nick Varner is the player with the early lead, 1-0.
Okay, the corner ball went in rather easily for Buddy Hall on his opening break. Let's see if the same is true for Nick Varner. And that's Ford racking the balls. He's from Seattle. He works for Boeing. He loves pocket billiards. He comes down every year to help out. And, of course, Gene Starry, I believe, initiated this tournament some years ago. And he hosts the USPPA, which is an amateur handicap system. They do all kinds of tournaments. They drew 290-something players this year.
This is the 8th year that the Sands Hotel have hosted this tournament. Gene Starley, as Grady mentioned, is the promoter of the event. Scott Smith, tournament director.
And, of course, we've had our personable and handsome producer, Mr. Pat Fleming, in attendance all week, and he's regaled us with little bits of information about pocket billiards.
You just saw Hal Mix and Nick Varner's girlfriend, Tony, on the screen a short moment ago.
I thought that was a real interesting stat yesterday, that the average game of 9-ball in tournament play is 5 minutes. That fascinated me. I would have thought that it would have been somewhat less.
I myself would have thought it would have been less than 5 minutes, especially with world-class players. But, of course, that says a lot about the deliberateness of the players at the, at the world-class level. They got to think things over, make sure they don't error or make a mistake.
He's going to try to put him behind the 2-ball here.
This is going to be very difficult to do that, considering that the 2-ball is kind of like almost inside the, the 1-ball is almost inside the 2. I don't know if he'll be able to hold the cue ball behind the 2-ball.
I think it's perfect for that.
I don't think so myself. From the angle that I have on the monitor, it doesn't seem like it lies right.
Well, for anybody who wants to learn how to play good safety, however much to the right of straight ahead Nick would like the cue ball to go, that's how far to the left he would cut the 1-ball. But I think it's laying perfect for that. I don't know that that's what he'll end up doing.
Well, there's some indecision.
Well, he's got a nice shot to go 2 rails and come down behind a 4 and 7. But I don't think he can put the 1-ball on the in rail. Now he's looking at the combination, and certainly on generous pockets, this might not be a bad choice. Tough table. This endeavor would be too difficult.
That's a good angle we have on the combination right here. Well, excellent angle from our cameraman, Rick Woolley. Thank you, Rick.
Looks like he's going to play the combination.
We'll see exactly how well he hits it. Okay, Buddy Hall will have his first legitimate opportunity. Excuse me, no, his second opportunity at the table. The first time he came to the table, he missed the one ball in the upper right-hand corner.
I think he's going to shoot this one in and just try to come down around the vicinity of the 2 ball. Of course, the 2 and 5 by the lower left-hand pocket. There's a nice shot of Buddy scrutinizing the particular layout. I don't believe the 2 passes the 5. Now, he may just lag the 1 in the pocket and come down for the combination. Looks to me like the line that he has will send the cue ball just to the left of the 4 ball, which is just above the spot.
This particular shot demands strong concentration.
And that is, in fact, where the cue ball went. That's a nice shot. He's got such a smooth stroke anyway.
And it looks like he's passed his mark slightly, and he's not really that happy with the result of the shot.
Well, he's all right here. There's a natural tendency to hit combinations too thick anyway. He wants to play to overcut this, and he's going to play the 2 ball after it hits the 5 to go to the side rail underneath the 6 and bounce out a little bit for position.
But he
like
has,
that.
Yeah,
nice
he has
shot.
to be concerned about controlling the 2 ball, which he did very nicely.
Good point, Billy. A lot of up-and-coming players will just shoot a combination like that, and they don't control the object ball. That's obviously of paramount importance.
No, he could have pocketed that combination, hitting it fully with the 2 ball, and then not coming up with a shot on the 2. If he would have hit that combination fully, the 2 ball would have then stayed behind the 6, and that's not what he wanted to have happened. And it didn't happen that way. He's on his way to capture game number 2.
Well, I don't know what kind of angle he's got on this 4, but even if he has to just stop the cue ball, he's okay. And I think that's what he's going to decide to do. Nicely done. Now this is natural, 2 rails above the 7 ball. No reason to take any kind of chance here. And he's a little bit below the 7, which is also ideal. Now he'll just come out 1 rail with a little above center left-hand English and try to get pretty much straight in on the 8 ball. And he's ideal, perfect angle. And he went a little farther than he wanted. Now he can stop this or follow it.
If this was a tight pocket table, I would venture to say he'd follow it and get closer to the 9, but with the generosity of the pockets,
I think this is right, because this you can't miss. And just like that, we're going to be knotted up 1 game each. Race to 13, Texas Express rules.
Well, Buddy Hall, he's so resilient. At one time, he was regarded as the best 9-ball player in the world. And today, at the age of, I believe, 43 years old, once again, many players and also his peers consider him one of the premier 9-ball players in the world, if not the premier player.
Well, for what it's worth, Billy, for a period of, between 15 and 20 years, there were several times that great players decided that they were the best players in the world, and they decided to try Buddy Hall. And usually those matches were 10 ahead for 10,000, and he defeated every player that tried that, including Efren Reyes.
Well, you really have to take off your hat to Buddy Hall. He certainly passed the test of time, and there are so many young players that are really great players today that haven't done that, and actually the jury's still out on those players. But Buddy, he certainly has proven to everyone out there who know him, and I'm sure everyone does, that he has passed the test of time and he's a true champion.
Oh, sure. And you notice that nobody asks him to play for money around these tournaments. They leave him alone.
Well, that brings up a point, and that is that just recently in a tournament in St. Charles, Illinois, the Pheasant Run, Francisco Bustamante was playing for big stakes money there, and Buddy Hall challenged him. They put up $10,000, and all of a sudden some of the Filipinos came over and says, "No, we don't care to play Buddy right now. We'll play him later." But they never got back to him.
Sure. Okay. All right, he is not. Yeah, there goes the 7 ball.
This is a shot that's fairly similar to the one that he missed in rack number 1 or game number 1, but it's further away from the 1 ball. I look for him to hit this better because he undercut the last one. He'll know.
Well, what's hard about this shot, Bill, is that he has to come back between the 3 and 9 ball. 3 balls on the lower end rail, 9 balls right by his bridge hand. He wants to go 2 rails and come back between the 3 and 9, then play the 2-9 combination or billiard.
He just needs a shot now that the 9's close to the pocket. It looks like he has a possible billiard on the 2-9.
Yes, he does, and I think noteworthy is going to be how easily he strikes a 2 ball. Because you can get away with a little bit of a bad hit on the 9 ball, provided you don't strike it too hard. Plus, it's much easier to be accurate on the billiard. This is left English, little bit of draw. You don't want to draw it too much. Pretty thick hit on the 2 ball. And he'll want to go the rail first, like so.
Game number 3 goes to Buddy. Now he leads in the match 2-1. This is a race to 13. Unlike the finals is 2 out of 3 sets, a race to 7. The winner of this match will have the opportunity to play Johnny Archer, the number 1 ranked player in the world today, in the finals.
And whichever of these talented champions earns the right to face Johnny Archer, it'll be a great match.
There's Hal Mix.
What a nice guy he is.
Certainly is. Very, very knowledgeable man. You always see Hal around Nick Varner, giving him a few pointers, and Nick really listens to Hal quite a bit. And,
sure. Well, there's nothing quite like the voice of experience.
There's Tony, Nick's girlfriend, sitting beside of her sister.
All right, he didn't quite get all of that. Not going to make a ball on the rake. And Nick Varner is going to have to push, I believe. Although, where do you push here?
Well, you're going to have to push on this side of the table where the 2-9 is, that's for sure. The 2 ball's positioned on this side, at this end of the table, next to the 9. The 1 ball at the other end. So therefore, if Buddy comes to the table with any type of a shot, he not only has to pocket the 1, but he has to get back down the table. Well, I don't think Nick's going to give him that good of a shot.
Now, you know why that was a good shot? Buddy cannot shoot at the 1 ball and get position on the 2. I think we'll see Buddy take this shot and cut it all the way over to the left-hand side rail and then back over on the in rail, and the cue ball, he'll play it to come down the table. 1, 2 rails. He's got the 5 and 8 ball to get the cue ball behind.
Okay, now his priority at this time is to hit the 1 ball very thinly.
Right, he's got to overcut it. But this is not too hard a shot. That's perfect. That's ideal.
If he hits the 6, which he has, he's going to put Nick Varner in a lot of trouble.
Well, Buddy's a great safety player. There's no way in the world he was going to pass that shot.
Well, Nick was really faced with the dilemma on that push. There really wasn't much he could do there, and he had to give Buddy that type of a shot. That type of a shot really demanded good execution if he was going to get away with it. And Buddy, the player that he is, just showed us out how much of a
Let's talk about this kick.
technician that he actually is.
He's going to have to hit right up by the side pocket with a little draw, I think. Or he can mache around the left side of the 8 and 5 ball. He cannot get to the left-hand side rail.
Well, if he kicks at the 1 ball, like you said first, by the side pocket, he runs the risk of scratching in the corner. That corner is a very big corner because he can scratch by either hitting him back of the 1 or hitting him the 1 directly. And he really doesn't want to kick this way because he knows the chances of scratching are pretty good.
Okay, he needs to hit just before the side. Now he's got to use quite a bit of English if he wants to lengthen this out.
He would like to hit ball first going in. Got away with the scratch by any pocket at the 1 in the side pocket.
Maybe we can get a close-up of that 2-9, Billy. I don't know if he can get in there rail first and make this. It looks to me like he can.
Now, the 2 ball is positioned about 1/4 of an inch off that side rail, and that may be just enough to pocket the 2. If it was frozen on the cushion, he may not be able to pocket it. But I think that he can pocket the 2.
Now, the cue ball should go over between the 3 and 6. It may hit the high side of the 6. Oh, he caught the 9.
I think the reason he caught the 9 is because he had to roll the ball, and I believe the table took it over to the left slightly enough to where he did contact the 9. He's really upset with the outcome of that particular shot. But he hauls back out of the table with a 2-1 advantage. 7 and 8 seem to be sort of tied up at the other side of the table, but it looks like he has room to pocket
No,
the
the 7 goes, I think.
Well, he's looking at it now to see exactly where he can go to pocket the 7 and where he can't go. So he understands exactly what he needs to do once he gets to the 6. What he's doing now is he's planning out his actual pattern to run the balls. It looks like he's going to pocket the 2 in the lower right-hand corner, playing position for the 3 in the lower left. He'll go to the side cushion by the side pocket.
Right.
Playing position for the 4 in the upper right-hand corner, stopping the ball right where the 4 is, if he can do that.
Well, he's going to pass beyond the 5 ball. Notice he stayed below the 3. Absolutely correct.
Oh, that was very uncharacteristic of the way he plays. As a matter of fact, I was really surprised in the fashion that he played position for the 4.
I was, too, and Billy, he was very, very fortunate there. All right, Pat Fleming suggests that he wanted to go past the side pocket 1 rail and break up to 7 and 8.
And if that's what he tried to do, then that's certainly a strong indication, if not a statement, that the 7 does not pass.
Right, because we know Buddy's style of game very well, and he doesn't like to go into balls. So he must not have thought it went.
Now that's an excellent shot. Notice the speed of the cue ball. Did in perfect line for the 5. He's going to draw the cue ball, if it's straight in, right beneath the on this side of the side pocket. That'll give him a nice angle to go up table, possibly behind the 7-8.
He's not straight in. He's not straight in here. He's going to have to go 1 rail down to the end rail, like so.
Okay, now he doesn't want to go too far down. He wants the natural angle back up table. And he doesn't have that. Matter of fact, the cue ball has finally come to rest on the cushion, creating a major problem for Buddy. Not in the sense that he cannot pocket the 6. He can pocket the 6, but he cannot get to a position on the table that he wanted to. Now he's going to have to play some sort of a safety.
I think he can make that 7 ball. Maybe I just am not seeing it correct. Well, apparently not.
Apparently not, and he has struck the 6 very nicely, putting the cue ball in perfect position for the 7 cross side. Now right here, you can forget about playing safe. You have to go for the pocket here.
Oh, he's sure he's going to bank it. Well, he has a lot of confidence in his banking ability anyway. But notice he did leave the cue ball behind the 8.
But he hit it with the speed that he totally disregarded the safety. He went for the accuracy with the shot, and that's what you're supposed to do when you're in that position. He was quite fortunate to come away with the safety after missing the 7.
Now what Nick would like to do is go 2 rails and hit the 7. That way the 9 would block the forward progress of the 7, and the cue ball would go up the table. I just don't know if he's got enough room to go around the 8 and do that. So he may hit this with speed and maybe even try to make the 7-9 combination. Okay. Now, I like going 2 rails here, just straight up and down. Buddy will probably lag this end, though.
Well, Buddy has such a soft stroke and such an accurate stroke, hitting it at a soft speed, that he can execute this type of a shot better than most. This is one of those rare times where he allowed the cue ball to get away from him. But I myself would have played it exactly the way you suggested, by going 2 cushions. That way I would increase the accuracy of the shot, and I would stay more so in the center of the table with the cue ball.
Well, I would rather, to put it another way, Billy, wouldn't you rather be in the middle of the table, even with an angle, which is, you want that anyway, than with this shot he has? This is very difficult.
Well, Buddy didn't want to end up with this position, and if he felt there was any chance of him ending up there, I think he would have played the shot a little differently. This is a pretty shot here if he pockets it.
All right, if he doesn't scratch, Nick Varner is going to be in a tough spot.
Well, Buddy's kind of unhappy with himself right now by missing the bank on the 7 and also missing the 8 ball. But he didn't really suffer that much of a consequence missing either ball. The 7 he hooked Nick. Now the 8 he's left him long distance and the cue ball near that side cushion. So therefore Nick has a lot of work in front of him here. He trails in the match 2-1 at this point.
Well, you may rest assured that Nick is going to shoot at this. He's not even thinking safe. And I think it's worth mentioning, when you're faced with a tough shot or a tough safety, always take the shot. At least in that way you gave yourself a chance to win. You don't want to go home after a tournament's over and you've lost the tournament because you played safe.
No, he's looking at a cut on the 8-ball. What's he going to do with the cue ball? To lag this shot would be really suicidal. I don't know if he could lag this. You know, I mean, it's such a difficult shot to ask yourself to lag at the length of the table and to cut it as thinly as he needed to cut that ball.
Yeah, what that was an unnatural speed. It would have been more natural to go 3 long rails, but that's ridiculous. That's incredibly difficult. The reason he didn't shoot the bank was because he couldn't get the cue ball all the way back down the table.
Yeah, he had an awkward angle on the bank, and if he was to pocket the bank, it would be very difficult for the cue ball to get back down this end of the table for the 9. I thought perhaps he had a safety by kicking him back of the 8, you know, like a one-pocket shot. He may have had that available. I think that would have been a better choice than the one that he chose.
Well, Nick doesn't like to play safe in spots like that, though. He wants to shoot. And for Buddy, he's got to be delighted. He made 2 unforced errors in one game, and he is still going to win it. And he has, in fact, done just that, and he now leads 3 games to 1.
Well, sometimes the balls cooperate for one player. Sometimes the balls break even. You know,
well, there's a big
right
difference.
now it seems like Buddy is the benefactor of the better rolls. But of course, this is a long set. It's a race to 13, and there's a lot of pool left.
Well, certainly,
a lot of things are going to happen.
These are 2 of the better attitudes in pool, Nick Varner and Buddy Hall. They're both fighters, good common sense players, very few unforced errors.
And is it coincidental that the players that have the best attitudes, there's Woody, Buddy's a good friend and traveling companion. Is it true that or is it a coincidence that just because a guy has a good attitude and he's a good player, that he should be in the semifinals and the finals as consistently as Nick Varner and Buddy Hall?
Well, I think it certainly has to have a lot to do with it.
I think it has a lot to do with it, too.
What percentage you'd put on it.
I think it has a lot to do with it.
I mean, unlike you, who regularly snivels like a yellow whipped dog.
That's right. Complaining, whining, bickering really doesn't help your position.
It sure doesn't. It's hard enough to win when you feel like getting out there and winning and positive about everything, and he's left no shot on the 1 ball.
Nick shaking his head in disgust. He says, this is more of what I faced against Johnny Archer yesterday. He said, I only had like 2 opportunities in a race to 13 against Archer, and in this match I've only had really 1 legitimate opportunity. But it's early in the match, and Nick is really unflappable. I mean, it's going to take a lot to upset Nick Varner.
Oh,
but of course, Johnny Archer did quite a bit to him yesterday in that onslaught 13-1.
Well, this is better than what he faced against Archer. Archer was putting racks together. At least here he can roll out.
Yeah, he has something to say about the outcome.
And I think I would roll out by this lower right-hand corner here because it's hard to bank the ball and get back on the 2 ball.
Well, the position of the 2 ball at this end of the table has a lot to say about where he will roll.
And if Buddy passed it to me, I would play a little shot that I like a lot where you cut the 1 ball towards the far-hand left corner, but you don't play to make it. You play it to go 2 rails and back roughly to where it is. Of course, it's going to be a few more inches off the rail, and I would play the cue ball to go 2 rails and come back down behind this 5, 7, 9.
That's a very difficult shot. Very difficult shot. Because he's going to position the cue ball very close to the cushion.
Oh, you're right. He put it where putting a little right angle.
Yeah, now he cannot put the right angle. He's to control the cue ball and send it in the direction that you suggested. But he might come behind the 1 ball here, possibly.
Well, I think he's. I don't think he's banking at this. In fact, he may think better of it and give it to Nick. We'll know in a moment.
Well, he got down over the ball to just see what type of a feel he had on the shot. If he likes the feel that he has, naturally he'll go ahead and shoot.
Oh, my goodness. What a hit. Do you believe he cut that ball in? Nick tapping his tip on the floor?
What a beautiful shot that is to see a man of his stature roll the ball as softly as he did the length of the table and cut a ball as thinly as he did, like he did, into the corner pocket. I mean, that's just beautiful pool.
It sure is. Well, quite frankly, my friend, the thought of him cutting that ball in never occurred to me. And Pat says that Nick Varner got charged with a safety error. Well, so be it. Nick has made many a difficult shot after an opponent played a relatively good safety.
Well, I'll tell you, if it's any indication of how well he's going to play for the remainder of the match, is, the way he's starting out and the way he finished last night, Buddy Hall's going to be very difficult to beat today.
Well, that's one of the prettiest shots you'll ever see in pool. That Buddy just executed and made look so simple. Now he'll go 2 rails here and hit just before the left-hand side pocket. Not just before, he doesn't want to come close to the side. Just like so, beautifully done.
And it's very nicely done. He's got the perfect angle on the 7.
And we keep
just to drop either under the 8 or he can draw on the other side of the 8. Either way will do just fine. He can go under the 8 or above the 8, either way.
And that's fine. He'll just punch the cue ball right over there about where the chalk is, just below the left-hand side pocket. This is just below center. You don't really need to draw this. A little left English. And that's fine. And Buddy seems to be in pretty good rhythm at the moment.
Nick Varner in his chair is scratching his head, saying to himself, what did I do wrong? I haven't done anything wrong, but yet I'm not on the board. I'm on the board 1 game, but Buddy has run off 4 consecutive racks, and I haven't made a mistake.
Well, what Nick is unhappy about is that Buddy missed 2 balls last game, and Nick never did have a shot. Perhaps Pat might enlighten us with some early Accu-Stats. About 30 seconds, he says.
It's really got to be difficult for Nick to take this because he really hasn't played poorly. He hasn't made any mistakes.
Well, look how many guys Nick Varner has done this kind of thing to. All right, here we go. 882 and 692. Buddy's pocketed 30 balls. Nick Varner 9.
Buddy's missed 3 balls. Nick's only missed 2. We had Buddy leads 4-1. Now the safety error was charged against Nick Varner, preceding the difficult 1 ball that Buddy cut in the length of the table. I don't know if I would consider that a safety error, but I guess that's the way it goes.
Boy, Pat Fleming says we're tough here at Accu-Stats, and I know that to be true.
But right now, Nick's not really concerned about why he was charged with a safety error on that shot. He's more concerned about what he's going to do to defeat Buddy Hall in the semifinal match.
Well, it would help to have a good shot to begin with. All right, the balls are at last racked. Now, Buddy did not make a ball the last time he broke. Let's see if he makes a slight adjustment and gets the job done. That he did.
Corner ball, and also another ball, but notice the cue ball, it went forward.
He did not want to go forward.
And it went forward because on its own power, it had a top rotation on it, which is an indication that Buddy really didn't hit the cue ball well.
All right, he's going to cut this to 3 ball, which is in the middle of the table, about 2/3 up the table. He's going to cut it to the right-hand side rail and come back underneath the 4 ball and try to position the cue ball behind the 6 and 9.
I like it. I like the other safety better. Well, that was the one you chose. I liked crossing the 3 and trying to position the cue ball behind the 5-7. If that safety was available, he could have snookered Nick much easier with that safety.
Now Nick doesn't have anything here. He could try to knock the 3 ball up in the middle of the table and put the cue ball behind the 5-7, but that takes a little too good a touch. I think we might see him cut it to his left and go 3 rails and hit just below the left-hand side pocket, and again try to bring the cue ball below the 6 and 9.
He's going to do what? I don't understand that shot at all.
Well, he's going to cut the 3 to his left.
And no, he's not going to do that.
Well, let's see what he does. Okay, I see what he decided to do. And it's going to go a little bit too far.
Yeah, he made a nice shot, but unfortunately he wasn't able to control the 3-ball as well as he needed to. He allowed it to leak out of him, and leaked out it did.
Well, that's a tough shot to control the speed. And I think Buddy will bank at this. I don't think he's thinking about playing safe.
Well, he's looking at the bank now, but he would like to put the cue ball back in the position that it's in now if he intends to play a safety.
I don't think he's going to play safe. I've seen Buddy haul.
Looks like he's going to play safe now. That's the way he's addressing the ball.
Okay. Yes, you're right. And he has done so. Very nice.
Okay, he wants to keep Nick in jail. The score is 4-1. He has a 3-game advantage. He really doesn't want to give Nick anything that he doesn't earn. So therefore, the bank seemed like it didn't lay just right for him. He stroked at the bank. He didn't like the way he felt, so he used really fine judgment, I thought, and he elected to play the safety. Now Nick one more time steps to the table. He doesn't have anything to shoot at. He's not loose. He's tight. And that's what Buddy wants. He wants to keep him tight from the onset.
All right, let me predict this kick. He's going to hit between the 4 and the side pocket with left-hand English, and he's going to try to go 2 rails into the 3-ball. That's the only reasonable kick I see, although I can see 2 or 3 other ways of hitting it. That is the best route.
Well, Nick being one of the best kickers in the world today, if there is a route to strike the 3-ball, I'm certainly sure he'll figure out where it's at.
Well, there's not much choice. That's absolutely the best way to go. Now you want to hit this a nice medium speed. Now see,
he hit it with a softer speed to lengthen it out.
But I suggested that he had to hit past the 4, right, which would have gone into the 3-ball, I believe. At any rate, Buddy's well thought out and well executed safety is going to pay dividends.
And a really important factor in his reason why he did play safe is because, like I mentioned, see, Nick is real tight right now, and Buddy really doesn't want to give Nick an opportunity at the table to get loosened up. He wants to keep him tight, and that way he can build up a very, very big lead early in the match, and that's what he wants to do.
Now he wanted to be not straight in on the 4. He wanted to get below the 5 so that he could get on the 6. He's not going to want to play position on the 5 in such a fashion that when he pockets the 5, the cue ball is going to have to go into the 7. That he absolutely does not want.
And he's on the wrong side of the 4-ball now to attain the correct angle on the 5.
All right, now what he can do is draw it to the side rail by which he's shooting and back out like this.
That's excellent speed. It looks like it's excellent speed to me, at least, and it is. Now he has a perfect route. It's very accessible to come straight down the table, playing position for the 6 in the lower left-hand corner pocket.
Right, I think he's gotten an ideal angle on the 5.
Once again, very nicely done, making sure the cue ball stays away from the cushion and also keeping a nice angle on the 6 so he can go back up table for the 7.
Now, Buddy likes to shoot this 1 rail. Let's see if he does that.
Looks like he's shooting this 2 cushions.
2 rails, okay. I couldn't judge the angle very well from here. At any rate, he's in perfect line, and he will just go down to the end rail.
He would like to finish up with the cue ball around where the 7 is now. That'll give him a nice natural shot. All he needs to do is pocket the 8. He'll go 2 cushions using the side rail toward the 9. Like that, and that's how it's done. So this is game number 6. Buddy Hall seems to be the player in control by the score at 5-1 after he sinks to 9, which he does. 5 games for Hall, 1 for VARNER, who still hasn't figured out what to do.
He hasn't had much in the way of opportunities.
Well, that's the way Buddy's playing him. He's playing him tight, and I really agree with his strategy right now. He could have went for the bank on the I believe it was the 2-ball or the 3-ball.
2-ball.
The 3-ball. And he shot the 3-ball down table,
yeah.
And then Nick went ahead and tried to hit the difficult kick, which he couldn't do, and Buddy once again came to the table with the control of the table and control of the match. And Nick's still in his chair, and he's not loose at all. And when he finally does get a shot, I'm kind of interested to see how he's going to respond.
Well, if I had to pick somebody to answer well, it would certainly be Nick VARNER. He's, in my opinion, the best come-from-behind player on the tour.
Well, the man at the table is a pretty good cover behind player himself, and he did it all day yesterday. What a bulldog this man is. He played over 12 hours yesterday, and to look at him, one would think that how can Buddy play 12 hours at the speed that he played? He's really relentless. Believe me, he's a tough competitor.
And he's rolling right along. The 3-7-8 on the left-hand lower side rail, 4-ball hanging up in the lower right-hand pocket. But really, if you look at the lie of balls, all he's got to do is make the 2-ball here and come 2 natural rails. Now, if he makes a 2-ball here, he should be in great position to go ahead and add one more game to his side of the ledger. He wants to be nice and smooth here. You don't really need to do anything fancy. Now, I think we'll see him go down to the end rail if he's attained such an angle.
Yeah, going to the end cushion is a much better position to end up with the cue ball. After going to the end cushion, all he'll need to do is to go up toward the 5 using the side cushion, and that's a very accessible route to the 5. Very accessible. So he'll try to get to the bottom cushion, which he has. Now he'll just hit the side cushion, and he wants a straightened shot on the 5, and this rack should be history.
Sure. A little left English. Low left English. He wants to make as thick a hit on the 4 as he can. Just very nicely done. But he may not like the angle. I think he might be able to either go 2 rails between the 6 and 9, or draw it straight back above the 6 and back out to the area of the spot.
It looks like he's just going to go ahead and sweep and pinch it and stay in the area that he's in now, possibly. No, he drew it back, which is fine.
Sure, I thought that's how it laid.
He would like to attain a straightened shot on the 7. Well, all he'll need to do then is to draw it back or even draw it to the side cushion if possible. But he wants to get back far enough so he doesn't have to cut it too thinly that the 8 will come into play.
Oh, he's in perfect position here.
Once again, he is. And this is game number 7. It seems to be all Buddy Hall up to this point.
Boy, he's so smooth, Billy. Everything is fluid and paced and even. And it's going to be 6-1. Advantage Buddy Hall.
And I remember a tournament in, I believe it was Moline, Illinois. Scott Smith said, as Buddy Hall worked his way through the loser's bracket, could Buddy Hall be the best of them all?
All right, here come the stats. Buddy up over 900 now, and that's certainly understandable. Nick still at a non-torrid 643, but that's not his fault. Buddy has already pocketed 48 balls.
To Nick's 9.
Now, this is an area that Buddy Hall sometimes, his statistics are misleading. This shows 3 missed balls, but 2 of them were in one game, and he has regrouped himself admirably and is already up over 900. And he's playing the game at the moment as well as it can be played. Now he went forward again. And the 2 is going to snooker him.
It looks like the 2 has come in between the 1 ball and the cue ball. Now we have the pitcher on the monitor. Thank you, Rick. Once again, fine angle, perfectly positioned for this type of a shot. And let's see, I don't believe he can hit the 1 ball.
No, he cannot, but he is possibly going to consider kicking at it right now. I don't see much of a place to push out here, do you?
Well, considering the position of the 1 ball so near that corner pocket, he can push out for a jump over the 2, which would be very risky.
Well, he's not going to do that, I don't think. He's going to just push over here, where hopefully Nick cannot cut the 1 in, and he can't.
Well, I don't think Nick can accept the kick. If he can see a portion of the 1, this shot may be acceptable. Even then, I don't think he should take it.
Well, the problem here is that there's nothing to put the 1 ball behind, and it takes a perfect hit to get the cue ball behind the 8, and that's the only ball he's got to get it behind.
I think the shot that Buddy's going to shoot, if Nick passes it, is going to send the cue ball 2 cushions and back of the 4-9.
Right, he's going to cut it thinly to his right.
And send the cue ball 2 cushions behind the 4-9. And Nick says to himself, well, Buddy's playing so well, he'll probably get that, achieve that. I'm going to try to take it away from him. But Nick's kind of tight right now. I don't think he'll be able to execute the shot. He hit it very thinly and got kind of like lucky. He didn't scratch in the side.
Well, Buddy's going to shoot your shot now, and now it's much easier because he just cuts the 1 into the 6 ball. Right?
That's exactly right. The 6 will then impede the progress of the 1, sending the cue ball down table behind the 4-9. He needs a brush on the 9 to make the shot really strong, which he didn't get. It leaked out slightly, and he's given Nick some sort of a bank on the 1. Now, Nick has a similar shot, but it requires a much better hit. If he plans to play safe, he can cut the 1 thinly to the left, sending the cue ball 2 cushions behind the 2-4-9. If he decides to go after the shot, he'll have to then bank the 1 to his right.
I don't think he can go for this bank. It's a very difficult shot. Long distance and off angle. Actually, he could hit the 1 thinly to either side and hopefully get about the same results. If I were going to shoot this, I'd cut the 1 to my right, because if I leave it on the side rail, the right-hand far side rail, at least Buddy would have to make a combination.
That's a good point. But, let's see how he's thinking out there. Whatever he does requires an excellent hit. He's going for the bank. He's tired of just sitting in his chair watching Buddy run out. He says, I'm going to go for a shot here and get myself back into this match.
Boy, what a nice shot under pressure. And that's what we've come to expect at championship 9-ball events.
No true words were ever said, Grady. That's why the world-class players that Buddy Hall and Nick Varner are. That's why they are the world-class players that they are, because they can come from behind and come out with a tough shot like that and get back into a match.
That's why you continue to see them in the semifinals and the finals of major events. And this was certainly a star-studded cast in attendance here at the 15th Sands Regency.
Nick, realizing that things weren't working out well for him, went out and tried to make something happen for himself, hitting the bank so nicely.
All right, he's in pretty good shape here. The 6 is by the far right-hand corner. All he's got to do here is stay away from the side. Other than that, he can do about what he wants to. He can follow this out of here or draw it out. I suspect he's going to draw it. Now, he's got an angle here where I think he'll probably follow this.
Yeah, he can follow 3 cushions for either corner pocket. Whatever he likes best, he can follow for the upper right or the upper left with a little more speed.
Well, he's fallen a little short. I don't know that he can cut this in with no English. He may have to draw this a little. No, I guess he can.
He can go across table because he can hit short of the side. That was something that we were concerned about, to which apparently he isn't, because he's at the table and he can feel the angle. We can't. Looks like he's going to win game number 2 for himself against 6 for Hall. At the end of game number 8, Nick Varner has 2 games. Buddy Hall has 6.
And this match has turned into what could end up being a very special, possibly even historic contest. Certainly these players performing at very high levels as we speak. I always like this tournament too, Billy, because the audience is so knowledgeable. You know, the folks come over from California, and pool is very popular over there.
It certainly is, and one of the reasons why pool is very popular over there is because people love to play pool in Southern California. Now, Gene Story has his handicap tournament, which really creates a lot of interest in the area, and even the novice player can go out there and compete and have fun. And there's a lot of players in California that compete in leagues, league play, and are on smaller tables, and when they come here, they're knowledgeable, and they understand exactly what's going on here, and they appreciate it from the fine pros. There's Francine Massey, and I believe she's a photographer, Pool and Billiard magazine.
What a nice lady she is. You know, she and Mike are just a perfect couple.
Elizabeth Holmes to the left of Woody, Buddy's traveling companion.
We had a nice chat the other day, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. Well, I'd like to see something of a worthwhile nature done for the ladies, Billy. I've been a big supporter of their pocket billiard play for a long time. You know, they come out and play for maybe a fourth of the prize money, and they have the same travel expenses. And to be honest with you, given the occurrences over the past few years. I'm not sure that they haven't gotten an organization together that's going to end up doing some great things. Certainly they dress up very nicely, and their caliber of play has picked up dramatically. John Mitchell, he provides the tournament trackers. A lot of these new
scoring
products
tracker. That's the scoring trackers above the table, I believe.
Sure. See, these new products are out of this world. They've got virtually everything now. I mean, they've got gloves, every kind of lubricant you can think of, which sometimes are utile in other areas. We'll speak about that another time. Okay, nothing on the break, and Buddy does have a cross-corner bank or 2 or 3 great safeties. What do you think he's going to do here, Billy?
Well, he can bank the one cross table, setting the cue ball 2 cushions underneath the 2. That way he'll have the 2 and the 3 to aid him in a snooker. He can thin the 1 and go 2 cushions behind the 5, 6,
That's
and
the
9.
shot I like, and I don't think he can shoot the bank. There's the break stats. 5 successful breaks for Buddy Hall.
Okay, now Buddy went for the bank cross corner. I'm not going to fault him for his decision there, considering how well he does bank. But Nick Varner has opened up the door for Nick Varner. But I kind of agree with Buddy's shot, especially considering the position of the cue ball. He was able to get around the table and position the cue ball for the 2 ball. Had he made the bank, he would have been well on his way to capture this game. Now, the break stats that were on the screen a short moment ago was certainly indicative to the why the score is what it is right now. Hall broke the balls 7 times, successfully breaking them 5 of those 7 times. Nick Varner broke the balls twice and only had 1 successful break. That's 50% compared to about, I would say, 80% success rate. So Buddy Hall has experienced much more success on the break. And that usually tells the story when you reach the level of play that Nick Varner and Buddy Hall play at. When you get to the upper echelon players, the break usually tells the story.
That it does, and Buddy Hall took a restroom break, and Nick Varner has elected to practice on an adjacent table.
And I don't blame him. You know, he's been sitting in his chair for almost the entire duration of this match. He's only been at the table in 2 particular racks, I believe. And how many balls, Pat, has Nick Varner pocketed in this match up to this point? So there's been 8 games played. How many balls has he pocketed? He's pocketed only 16 balls in 8 games. And that's the reason why he's hitting balls on the adjacent table, because he wants to loosen up. And Buddy took a break, and it was just perfect time for Buddy to take a break as far as Nick's concerned. He's got a nice shot, ready to shoot, and now he's going to loosen up. And when he gets to the table, he'll feel a lot looser and a lot better about his position.
Now that brings up an interesting point, Billy. I was playing Ronnie Allen once, and it was his break, and he wanted to practice the break before he broke, and I said, there's no way I'm going to allow you to do that. No, I'm serious.
No, I never heard of anything like that before. That is really funny. And for him to do something like that, it's
well, I'm not so sure
absurd.
I'm not so sure this isn't the same thing. If I were playing in the finals of a match, this is different because Buddy went to the restroom, but I'm not so sure that it's kosher to practice while you're waiting for your shot. What if it were a very difficult shot that he faced instead of this relative hanger, and he went over to the other table and practiced it 2 or 3 different ways? What if it were a shot that maybe it required a type of position you'd never actually executed in the game, and you went over to the table and practiced it?
Well, there's a lot to be said from what you have just said, but
well, what would you do if
Nick Varner's
I'm being serious.
on the next table hit practicing getting balls.
What would you do if you and I were playing for money and it was my break and I wanted to practice it about 10 times before I broke? What would you tell me?
In all honesty,
yeah.
I would let you do anything you wanted to do as long as you played me.
Oh, you continually mislead our listeners.
Sure.
But that's okay. It might cause me to get a good game sometime. Steve Mizrak has something of interest.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on the match here. I think you 2 guys are doing a fine job, as always. Billy gets a little confused sometimes, but you guys are doing a fine job, especially you, Grady.
No, Steve, I'm Billy. Me. He's Grady.
I can tell. You're the one with the mustache.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for that sentiment, Steve. And I want to tell you that I think you've done some great things for the sport. Not the least of which is representing it in classy professional style lo these many years.
Well, what Grady just said is true, but it's you rub my back, I'll rub yours. I've been there before. Thanks a lot. See you, Steve.
All right, Nixon, pretty good line here. The 4 ball, though, I don't know for sure what he's going to do with the 4. If it goes in the lower left-hand corner, that has to be his choice, I think.
The 4 does pass into the lower left-hand corner, and if he chooses to play that position route, he will then play position for probably the 5-9 combination. But if he attains a straight-in shot on the 4, maybe he can just follow it straight down table and play position for the 5 in the lower right-hand corner pocket. So he does have an option if he decides to choose that route to the 4.
Well, his only 2 choices really are there or the far right-hand corner, but you can't play for the far right-hand corner because if he gets out of line a little bit, then he cannot get on the 5 any kind of way.
No, he must play position on the 4 for the lower left-hand corner. If he falls straight in on the 4, he can follow it straight cross table for position on the 5. If he has a slight angle on the 4 that suggests that he goes down table for position for the combination, he'll do that.
Well, he may have gotten entirely on the wrong side of the 4.
No, he may be able to follow it cross table for position on the 5. So he had a choice now, and that's one of the reasons why he played position for the 4 in this corner. Now look, he's going over to the other side of the table because he's got the angle that he says, hey, I like this angle. I can just swing the cue ball cross table, playing position for the 5. This actually was his preference to begin with. Naturally, you don't want to shoot a combination if you don't have to.
Very true. And perfect shot, very nicely executed.
Now he'll follow the cue ball straight forward for position on the side for the side pocket on the 6, or for the corner. If he doesn't have the angle that'll benefit him for the 6 inside, he'll just go for the upper corner. He's looking to back it up and play shape for the 6 to the lower left, but I don't think it'll pass the 9.
It must not. That's what he just checked. Now, another possibility, he can follow this all the way over with right English and come back 1 rail and play the 6 in the same pocket. I kind of like that, like so.
Well, that was a very nice shot. Now, he doesn't want to get near that cushion. Okay, now he's going to have to hit this softly and cut it a little bit. Now, he hopes that this ball doesn't skid on him. This is the type of shot that may skid.
Well, he didn't really give it a chance to skid. He hit it with ideal speed. Now, he's got to be careful here. He wants to hit ball first.
And then he wants to go 2 cushions with right-hand English, playing position for the 8 ball in the side pocket. Now, he wants to get on the other side of the 8.
And that's
very nicely done. This is game number 9. Nick VARNER, if he pockets the 8-9, will only trail by 3 games in the match, with the score being then 3 games to 6.
Sure, and it's eminently more reachable than 6-1, which it was a couple of racks ago. Chuck Sexton on the monitor. He attends every tournament here at the Sands, and he just has a ball. I think he plays too, Pat.
Well, he's a very knowledgeable man, and the reason I know that is because he buys a lot of Accu-Stats tapes, and he's able to listen to the great players such as Buddy Hall, Nick Varner, Grady Mathews.
And there's what you want to look at on the monitor.
Oh, now she's an attractive woman. Now I think that's in my taste, it says she's a very attractive woman.
Well, you've always liked the sultry siren appearance anyway, and that's right up your alley. All right, here we go.
Let's not digress any more than we need to. Let's get back to the match. Nick Varner preparing. Now he switched from one side of the table to the other and breaking the balls. A wise decision, and he's got rewarded for it, pocketing the 5 ball in the corner pocket. Look, the balls have taken their places. Boys, take your places, and they do.
Now, he's got to be careful here because the 3 doesn't pass the 6. The 3 is just below and to the left of the spot. He wants to get an angle on this 2 ball, but he has to get on the proper side of the 3. Well, all he has to get is where he can make the 3 because the 4 is reposing rather conveniently by the far right-hand corner.
Okay, he's drawing the ball assuring himself of a good angle on the 2 to just naturally come down table for position on the 3. Now all he needs to do is hit the 2 ball thinly with a little bit of right-hand English. It'll send him into the direction that he wants to go in.
Yeah, he's attained a near perfect angle here.
See the slight spin of the cue ball going to the right? Now the cue ball will then depart from that cushion to the right toward the 3.
Now he wants to be careful. Now notice that he is going to check right now and see where he would like to get on the 4. Because he has to get on the 6 ball. Of course, the middle of the table would be all right. And he's also going to have a little problem with the 7 ball because it has to be, you have to play position for the far left-hand corner. Now, he'd be happy to get in the middle of the table here.
I think that he's ended up in a pretty good position on the 4, but his expression on his face when the cue ball was heading in that direction, he really wasn't happy with it. But I think that all you need to do is draw the ball straight back. Well, now he had to force it. Now, this is going to be touchy because the cue ball is positioned very close to that side cushion. He's going to have to hit the 6 ball very thinly and control the speed and direction of the cue ball. This is a touchy shot.
Well, I'll tell you what I would do here, Billy. I would either try to go back between the 7 and 8, or I would stay entirely to the left-hand side of the 7. I wouldn't risk trying to lag this in with inside English and get straight in on the 7.
He may go ahead and hit it with a firmer speed and going in between the 7 and 8.
Right. In that fashion, he assured himself of making the 6 ball, and he said to himself, well, I'm going to be close enough to the 7, I should be able to make a good, accurate hit.
And being as close as he is to the 7, I'd venture to say that the chances of him missing this shot are about 1 in 7 or 1 in 8.
Well, all he has to do is make sure not to catch the side rail going in. These are generous pockets, provided you don't catch rail going in.
Straight in the center of the pocket. Perfectly positioning the cue ball once again. All he needs to do is draw the cue ball straight down table for position on the 9 in the lower left-hand corner. Very nicely done. And he run this rack, I would think, very nicely, considering the position he got on the 6.
Sure. Well, he got a little straighter in on that 4 than he wanted to, and he didn't have much choice there. I loved what he did with that 4 ball. Most players would have tried to draw that out in the middle of the table, and you risk miscuing. If you overcut the ball a little bit, he could have ran into the 8. If you hit it too thickly, you could miss it or not even get an angle on the 6.
Okay, now Nick has really increased his level of play. At one point he was shooting like a 620. Now it's all the way up to an 872. He has now pocketed 34 balls to Buddy Hall's 48. He's starting to loosen up, and he has 4 games to Buddy's 6. It's a completely different ball game now. Both players playing fairly well out there. Buddy shooting a little higher, 889 on a total performance average chart. Nick 872. Nick's at the table. He has now won 3 consecutive games. And he surely has found the right spot to break from, Grady.
Now he's got a nice angle here. He'll just shoot this knowing it's just a high ball and come right up one natural rail.
Now what he has to do here, Grady, is he can't not hit this with any speed. He has to really roll this ball.
Right, you lag it in the pocket. He wants to come up 3 feet or so, and he'll have a nice angle on the 3 to get down on the 5, which is up on the far end rail. Now, he doesn't want the 6 to interfere with his bridge.
He really wanted a straighter in shot than he ended up with.
Now, he's going to have to go underneath the 8, I believe.
See, if he would have gotten a little straighter shot on the 3, he could have went to the right of the 8 up table for the position
right,
on the 5.
that's what he wanted.
That's why I suggested that he would have to roll that ball. He hit it a little too firmly and played himself out of line slightly. But the champion that he is, he'll do something most likely to get himself back in line for the 5.
Well, the 8 is a big, big ball here.
Okay, now once again, he's shown us his strong recovery ability by placing the cue ball in a position now where he looks like he's back in shape on the 5 to run the remaining balls in the rack.
Now, that was a nice shot there. And he hit it, pretty firm. And you have to do that because he could have ended up behind the 6 or right on the rail with an awkward angle on the 5. Now I think we'll see him play position for the 7 in the side pocket because it requires simply stopping the cue ball.
And Buddy Hall often says when he does commentary, no need to play position when you have position.
Right. And Buddy would like to have that 1-ball bank back because this is turning into quite the match.
But Buddy Hall definitely is not thinking about the 1-ball bank. He made a wise decision to shoot the 1-ball bank because he has really the banking skills to pocket that bank a good 90% of the time, I would venture to say, and he's not going to dwell over that miss. I mean, he's human, and he understands that sometimes things just don't work out the way you figure they will. This is game number 11. Nick Varner looking to close the gap to within 1 game of the lead if he pockets a 9, which there's no reason why he shouldn't. After game number 11, it's a 1-game lead for Buddy Hall, now only leading by 1 game, 5 games to 6 over Nick Varner.
And there's the score, very nicely displayed on the monitor. What happened to all the little circles and squares that you used to entertain us with, Pat? Are they non-existent anymore? Okay, that's no longer available.
Well, it's obsolete now.
There's Louis Lemke.
Louis Lemke.
He sings the blues when he's not playing pool, and certainly I can think of 100 worthwhile subjects concerning pool that one could sing the blues about. I got the losers bracket blues.
Oh, sing it, brother. Let's hear it.
I'll just have a little fun.
Please
here.
break the balls, Nick, please.
That's why I never took up music.
Okay, Nick took a little off that break, and it looks like he pocketed the 2-ball at the very end of that break, and it doesn't appear that he's come up with a shot. The 4-ball came in between the 1 and the cue ball. I don't know. I don't think he has a shot on the 1. He may be able to see a portion of the 1-ball, but I don't believe it's enough to pocket it. But, of course, I do have a bad angle.
If he can see a little bit of that 1, it just takes a slight masse to be able to make it. We may see him perpetrate such a shot.
But the position of the 3 cross table from the cue ball on the other side of the table from the 1, if he does masse it, there's no guarantee he's going to get position for the 3.
Well, he would have a bank on a 3, but he may not do that. We'll see. If he can see a piece of it, he might consider hitting the 1 thinly, knocking it to the in rail, up on the side rail, and the cue ball down behind the 5 and 6. But I don't think that would be the right thing to do here. There's too many ways that he would let Buddy see the 1-ball.
Well, Nick really doesn't have anywhere he can push here. He's going to have to try to masse it, hit the 1-ball, and send the cue ball cross table. I don't see of any place on the table that he can push. I really don't. I don't see anywhere on the table that he can push. He may have to push for a jump over the 4. Or he may have to kick at the 1, or masse at this moment. But pushing is totally out of the question unless he pushes for a jump shot. Or a better kick.
He's not going to push for a jump shot here, I don't think. He's going to push out where he can kick at the 1 and hit the bottom of the 1. Now, that's a smart shot. And I don't think Buddy's going to give it to him either.
And he's trying to move the position of the 3 to where if... well, let me see what he's done here. He's tried to position the 3 to where Buddy will be having more of a problem playing a safety. Will have more of a problem playing a safety. I like that push too much because now Buddy has a nice bank on the 1 with a natural position for the 3. If he elects to shoot that, if I see the angle correctly.
Well, if he can see the right edge of the 1, he probably can put Nick right behind the 3-ball too. And if so, he'll use high English, right English, just like this.
Right. I didn't like that push at all.
Now we may see the jump too.
I didn't like that push at all. And I would have pushed for either a jump or a kick on the 1.
Well, I'm surprised too because it gave Buddy a pretty easy safety. Now, I thought he was pushing for the kick shot, where at least on the kick shot he could strike the bottom part of the 1 ball.
And now, if the cue ball is against that bottom cushion, his chances of jumping over the 4 are really decreased considerably.
Yeah, if it's right on the cushion, you
He's looking
very
to kick.
difficult.
He's looking to kick now. He's going to have to bend the cue ball around the 4 in order to hit the position, the part of that rail that he needs to hit. He's
But
going
if
to
he
elevate,
hits this right, the cue ball is going to go over towards the 7 ball,
or toward the 5 and 8.
according to how thickly he strikes the 1.
Well, he got very fortunate. He kicked it into another ball, the 1 ball that is, and he pocketed the other ball. So the things that were happening against him from the onset of this match have been kind of like rolling for him now. So I guess the roles have a way of turning around.
Now, what do you do with this? I like putting Buddy behind the 9 ball. We'll see what he decides to do. Certainly there are 3 or 4 reasonable ways to go about this type of shot. If he can put Buddy behind the 9 and in the process knock the 1 up around the area of the 7, that may be what he decides.
Yeah, I think he'll have to knock the 1 between the 7 and 8 and put the cue ball behind the 9. He didn't hit well. He hit it with the speed that he needed to hit it with, but a little firmer because he wanted to get the 1 a little further up table, not allowing Buddy to get to that side cushion to kick the 1.
Well, that's what I suggested. I would like to have had it up around the area of the 7 ball. Now, Buddy's got a chance to get this safe.
Now, if Buddy can get deeply behind the 1, the cue ball will then, after contacting the 1, it should either stay right there where the 1 is or go toward the 7 slightly. And if he can do that, if he can execute this particular shot in that fashion, he's going to put Nick in a lot of trouble. The 1 ball will then go cross corner in back of the 2-7. He didn't get in back of it deeply enough to achieve the results that he needed. If he would have gotten the back of the 1 ball a little deeper, then the 1 ball would have went 2 cushions behind the 4-3. The cue ball would have went toward the 7.
All right, Nick, as I see it, Billy has 3 choices here. He can bank the 1, which I don't think he's going to do. He can cut the 1 and draw the cue ball off of the 4. And 3, he can cut the 1 in and just go into the 4 with a high ball. But that doesn't look like the right shot to me, the latter option.
Well, he runs the risk of scratching off the 4 by following through the 4.
Well, he wouldn't shoot it that hard, but what he would run the risk of is maybe the 4 coming back and double kissing the cue ball, or even worse, the 4 going to the in rail and then disturbing the 3. So I think he'll probably decide to draw this low left English, and he'd like to come off the top of the 4 ball over to the far left-hand side rail and then back out maybe in the middle of the table or so for the 3 ball.
This is a risky shot. If he hits the 4 ball too thinly, he can definitely scratch in the corner pocket here. This is a very risky shot, so he's going to take his time and really survey the situation, look it over. And I think he's going to try something differently here. Maybe send the 1 ball 2 cushions down table behind the 9, possibly.
All right, he elected my latter option, and he's left this. And this is a real hard shot. Now,
He's left Buddy a test there. I believe he I don't know what he did there. I'm not quite sure whether he played a safety.
Well, he went for the ball.
What.
No, he didn't play safe. He went for it.
I don't know if he did go for the ball. Believe me, I mean, he really doesn't miss balls by that type of a margin.
Well, he missed it because he had to do something unnatural. Now, he was fortunate in that he left Buddy right over a ball.
See,
Well, we can ask him after the match.
Well, it's not really that important to us and our viewers, I would think, at this moment. But
well,
the Accu-Stats, it may be.
It's important to me for the price of a dinner. I'm willing to say that he tried to make it. Oh, how tough Pat Fleming is. He's going to award Nick Varner a miss.
Okay, now Nick wants to roll forward enough to where he can attain either the straight-in angle on the 5 or slightly to the left of the 5, where he can then go to the side cushion and go swing it 2 cushions toward the 7. Now he's playing position for the 5 on the side, which is a better shot, and I know he had that angle to do that with.
Now he just follow over. And he really can't get bad on this 7 ball. Oh, okay. Force it down the end rail just as good.
Yeah, well, he looks like all he needs to do is just force this over for the position on the 8 in the same pocket.
Sure, he's ideal here. Cannot get bad on the 8.
And it looks like we're going to be looking at a tied-up match, 6 games apiece, Grady. At one time in the match, Buddy had a very nice lead of 5 or 6 games to 1. Now Nick has come back winning 5 consecutive games.
And the Accu-Stats have undoubtedly changed, too.
Well, this is the kind of match that we all expected to see. Very sharply contested match, and the players out there are giving us exactly what we wanted, and we're delighted to see that they're responding well to the pressure, and they're playing beautiful pool.
Sure. There's Steve Mizrak. Dave Bowman. Here's the current stats. It's changed. VARNER now 895. Buddy at 857. 2 position errors for Buddy, and that may loom distinctly in the final analysis of this contest.
Did you credit Buddy with a position error? When was the last position error that you credited against Buddy? I don't really recall what happened there. But anyways, Nick's back at the table, winning now 5 consecutive games, preparing to break the balls. In game number 13, once again experiencing success on the break. This time the 8 ball comes in between the 1 ball and the cue ball, spoiling the party.
But now he has some options as far as where he's going to roll out to. Where would you roll to here, Bill?
I really haven't had the time to explore the situation. The 3 is the next ball. I would maybe roll to the left-hand side pocket, forcing him to take the cross-corner bank possibly. Nick's rolling for a safety, a cross-corner on the safety. I don't think he can do that. Buddy's not going to refuse that shot.
No, Buddy's going to take it if he does that.
I think that I would roll out to the left-hand side pocket, forcing Buddy to shoot the shot or giving it back to me. I wouldn't roll out for an easy safety.
All right, look what he's looking at here. I believe that's a 4 ball on the end rail.
It is the 4 ball. He's looking to tie something up now. I believe he should roll out to the left-hand side pocket. No, if he rolls and allows Buddy to see just a portion of the 1. Oh, he's rolling out for a jump shot.
Well, I wouldn't even get out of the chair.
He has to jump totally over the top of the 8 ball, and Buddy doesn't even seem to want to budge at all.
Well, I wouldn't either. I'd let him have at it. Well, he may kick it, too. He may not jump this.
I think this was a poor rollout. I don't agree with his decision to roll in this position.
Okay, and he's going to
scratch.
I
think the last 2 times Nick Varner came to the table after the break and rolled out, he rolled out very poorly. And both times he's gotten punished for it.
I don't know that this will go anywhere other than the side. Of course, that's plenty good enough. He'll shoot the 1 in the side pocket. And
I think the tournament director just interceded and spoke to Nick about the slow play. I don't know if that's right now. It's in such an important match.
What time is it? 1 hour and 6. So that's 100 and.
Well, how long?
1 hour and 20 minutes is 80 minutes divided
by
12 games. That's 6 2/3 minutes per game.
So I don't think he's playing all that slow. Yesterday there was a match that took 8.5 minutes a game.
That's a nice shot. Nice stroke. Now this is a little touchy here.
It certainly is. If he can, he'll go directly into the 7, hitting the 7 very fully.
I like splitting the 5 and 7 here, but easily. like so. That's a beautiful shot. Perfect speed. Now where is he playing position on the 6?
In the lower left-hand corner pocket. Very nicely done.
Well, he's got an angle to go right around the 7 here, which I
if he wants to do that, he can do that, which it lays natural. There's no reason why he wouldn't want to. 2 cushions. Missing the 7. If he'd have brushed the 7, he may have found himself with a little bit of a problem. But
now he can play for the corner or the side.
It didn't get back far enough on that shot, so he's going to have to do a little something extra here. I believe maybe he'll just pinch it and go up table slightly. Playing the outside of the pocket, holding the cue ball more in the position that he needed to. And once again, he goes into the lead by the score of 7-6. Okay, he's glad that drought's over. He had lost 5 consecutive games up to that point, and finally getting back on the winning track, takes a slim lead in the match once again, 7-6. It's a race to 13. This is halftime.
All right, a correction was made. Buddy Hall has only made 1 position error. That's a rare mishap on the part of the Accu-Stats staff. Pat Fleming says they admit their mistakes. Buddy Hall asking for a re-rack. Well, Johnny Archer's made his way into the room, a grand entrance, if you will, and certainly he has electrified this crowd.
I like to have a referee or an official rack the balls for us, and I think it's within the player's right to ask for a re-rack like they do in bowling. If they don't like the way the pins are set, they push the reset button and then they reset them.
But they're only allowed 2 resets per game. You can't have somebody standing like a hawk over the racker every game either.
And who do you think would be guilty of something like that? I mean, who do you think would be?
Well, I don't know.
Well, you certainly have an opinion on that.
Well, I don't. I want to have nothing but nice things to say about people, with one notable exception whose initials are B.I. All right, he's pocketed a ball on the break. Tough shot on the 1 here. I think Buddy is going to take a crack at the bank here. He's got a lot of confidence in his bank.
He may even take a crack at thinning it in the corner pocket.
He can't do that. The cue ball is going to come down into the 4-5-3 if he does that.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Buddy doesn't like to turn the cue ball loose. Oh, you're right.
You're right. Mr. Mathews.
Mr. Cardone. Is it going to get him? No. Well, see what happened there, Billy? He hit that thickly and was able to miss those balls. I don't believe he could have made the ball naturally without going into these balls on the left-hand side rail.
Well, I myself have to give Buddy Hall the benefit of saying that he would have positioned the cue ball had he pocketed the ball in approximately the same position that it's in now. You have to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's the guy at the table. He wouldn't have shot the shot if it wasn't available.
Now, Nick has gotten on the wrong side of this ball, right?
It looks like he's gotten on the wrong side of the ball, and now he needs to probably go around the table or else follow to the cushion playing position for the 3 in the lower right-hand corner pocket.
All right. At the conclusion of this rack, we are going to change the tape, but you'll miss none of this great 9-ball activity.
He's going to fall a little short of his mark here. He wanted to come down a little further than he did, playing position for either the side or the corner. Now he's going to probably have to play some sort of a safety, positioning the cue ball, I would think, behind the 8. Or behind the 5, which is just as good.
Okay. I like going to the side rail, not the in rail. The point is enormous in the scheme of this particular lie.
But going to the end rail, if he hits the 3, he's more subject to come away with a better situation for himself.
Now, he might go 2 rails and hit just before the side. Oh, he made a nice hit there. That's
He's going to pocket the 3 here. He's going to get kind of a fortuitous roll, but of course he realized.
Buddy said there were too many balls there to roll, and it's too big a hole. Well, Buddy has always been willing to strike a kick shot with some measure of speed.
Let's get a close-up of the 5 and 9
chance.
In relation to the cushion, Rick, and see exactly what Buddy needs to do to attain position on the 5 ball. Can he roll it?
Well, I don't think he can go underneath the 9. Well, he must be able to. Boy,
it's a very deceiving angle,
isn't it? That's an optical illusion. It just doesn't look like he can make the 5, but he's not even hesitating, so I assume it's no problem.
The 5 was far enough away from that bottom cushion for him to quite comfortably go rail first, pocketing the 5. Okay, now he has an option. I believe he's going to have to go across table here. Either 1 rail or even 2 wouldn't be out of the question.
Well, Buddy doesn't like to draw it straight back if he doesn't have to.
And game number 14 goes to Buddy Hall, thanks to the 8 ball dropping in the lower left-hand corner pocket. Now he takes a 2-game lead in the match at 8-6. This is the Sands Regency number 15. This is the 8th consecutive year they've hosted this event. Buddy Hall and Nick Varner in the semifinals. Hall having an 8-6 advantage, a race to 13. The winner will then advance to the finals to face the number 1 ranked player in the world, young, straight-shooting, jumping Johnny Archer.
And he is that. He's possessed of every weapon necessary for play at the championship level.
I've noticed that Buddy has experienced much more success pocketing the corner ball. And the player, in my estimation, or my opinion, that pockets the corner ball most often usually is the player that prevails in the match.
Sure, Nick's been breaking from the opposite side of the table. At any rate, Buddy made 3 balls on the break. He's got a nice angle to, he's going to have to play the 3 in the corner, but I believe he's got to go all the way over to the far left-hand side cushion and back. Let's see.
It's not out of the question playing the 3-4 combination.
Right, I couldn't see if it was on or not.
Now the 3 ball, after pocketing the 4, will go toward the lower right-hand corner, and he'll create a good position for himself just with the combination. The 6 ball sits in front or near the, the 3 just took the place of the 4, which was better.
Now he'll go down to the end rail here, I believe.
If he can go to the end cushion, he will, which he's done. Now he'll just slide the cue ball up the right-hand cushion, playing position for the 8 in the lower left-hand corner pocket. Making position for the 9 much more simple. Well, he's come down table fairly far, maybe a little bit too far.
Oh, he's okay here.
He's fine.
He can, if he's got a little too much angle, he can just go over to the side rail and back over, or just roll it forward like this, according to how much angle he has. And is Buddy beginning to take command of the match? We'll know in a while. At the moment, he leads 9-6.
Well, he does lead 9-6, and once again, he takes a 3-game lead in the match. Notice the way this match has been played. It was 1-0 Varner. Then Buddy Hall ran off 6 consecutive games, taking a 6-1 lead in the match. Nick Varner responded well, coming back, tying up the match at 6 games apiece. And then Buddy now is taking control once again, winning the next 3 consecutive games, taking a 3-game advantage now with the score being 9-6 in favor of Buddy Hall. So therefore, when you win games, it seems like the player at the table who has the break wins, he wins like 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. And if that's the case, and Nick Varner's in a lot of trouble.
Buddy up over 900 again. Nick Varner progressing along at 873.
Well, that's a good picture of Buddy right there. The man has certainly passed the test of time, and you can just show it. It shows in his face that he has passed the test of time. in his 40s now, but he certainly couldn't tell by the way he plays. He's 43 or 44 years old, and he plays like he doesn't get older. He just gets better.
Sure.
No, the corner ball didn't find its way into the corner pocket. There's a lot of congestion at the lower left-hand quadrant of the table. I'll identify the balls very quickly for you. The 3 is the ball near the left-hand rail. The 8 is in between the 3 and the 4. The 5 to the right of the 4. The 6 to the left of the foot spot.
All right, what's your game plan, Billy, if you're Nick Varner here? He's going to have problems with the 3. It doesn't pass the 8, and there's no natural route to get between the 3 and 8.
Well, you have to draw the cue ball slightly here, playing position for the 2 in the side. It'll give him a nice angle to go toward the 3 and the 8.
No, I don't think he can draw this.
Okay, he couldn't draw it.
All right, if he doesn't get an angle he likes, he could consider playing for the bank. But there's no way. Now he's gotten a very awkward angle. There's the break stats. 7 for Buddy Hall versus 5 for Nick. And Nick trails by 3 games, so I would guess that that's fairly close. 3 runouts for Hall, 2 for Varner, and given the score, that's obviously about correct.
Nick has a lot of work in front of him. He has to attain a good angle on the 3-8 combination, and not only does he have to pocket the combination, but he has to control the object ball being the 3. Well, he's gotten himself totally out of line for the combination, so perhaps he may have something else in mind.
Well, he wasn't playing for the combination.
Maybe he's playing for the safety with the cue ball behind the 8, and then eventually ending up behind a 4-5.
Buddy may be able to see a piece of that 3 ball.
There's a possibility that Buddy may be able to see a piece of it, but I don't know. The 5 and 6 are fairly close together, and it looks like it's blocking the path to the 3. I'd be surprised if Buddy could see any part of the 3, but I don't know. It looks like it's kind of close. I don't think we have the ability to give us the angle that we need to see if he can see the 3.
Now here's a shot that's ready-made for the jump cue. This is almost an ideal lie here, I think, for that, if he can't see it.
I don't see any other option Buddy has other than to use the jump cue or elect to tie up a ball. He could tie up the 4 and 5, but giving Nick ball in hand, Nick would only have to go into the 4 and 8. Nick would only have to play position to go into the 4 and 8 with the ball in hand.
He's going to twirl this a little bit, right to left.
Oh my goodness, this has the speed. It has the speed, but it doesn't have the direction. Well, I'll tell you, he hit it extremely well. I mean, you couldn't have expected him to hit it any better than he did.
He said he was ducking. I didn't think he was trying to make it either. He caught it more thickly than he meant to. Now, look at this, Billy. This is a little touchy. He doesn't really want to get where he has to go into the 5 ball when he pockets the 4. That's why he tried to stay as far to his right as he could and still be able to see the 4 ball. Now, I don't know whether he's gotten a straight-in enough angle to be able to draw out between the 5 and 6 or not.
Even if he can draw the ball, he has to be particularly careful that he doesn't hit the 5 here. Now he's going to follow through the ball around the 5. Very nicely done, which was a very intricate shot. He had to follow through the 4 ball,
now notice he's
avoiding contact with the 5.
He's going to have to go to the left of the 6, like so. And nicely done. And as always, we stress the fact that the top players in the world don't really like to go into balls. If they can avoid it, they'll do so. All right, he's in great position. He can get about anywhere on the table he wants on a shot of this sort. And straight in will do nicely, or anything close to it. Now he has only to shoot the 8 and go forward slightly. Nice shot. And we are going to have a 9-7 score advantage, Buddy Hall.
Yes, we do. The unrelenting Varner shows us his skills in coming back, and now only trails by 2 games in the match. It's 7 games to 9.
I must say every bastion of pocket billiard intelligentsia represented here today. A lot of the great players stick around to watch these terrific matches, and that makes for a good audience in and of itself.
It certainly does. It's always nice to play in front of a knowledgeable audience because you're rewarded for your, for your skills and your ability to perfect the art of the game.
Oh, sure. And here's something, too, Billy. Don't you feel like when you're playing a match and Nick Varner and Buddy Hall are watching your match, just for an example, and Mike Siegel or whoever it may be, you're honored, first of all, to have them witnessing your play. And secondly, you can say to yourself, boy, I sure don't want to do anything that would make me appear unknowledgeable or have a bad attitude in front of their eyes.
That's
Right.
true. They're really an inspiration. It's nice to have the premier players and the quality players that we have attend the finals, semifinals, and final matches. It says so much about the players themselves
All right.
and their attitudes.
The 6-ball, I don't know if it passes a 9. I don't believe it does. Now is the time for Buddy to have his game plan. A 2, 3, 4, no problem. But I think we'll see him play for position for the 6-ball rather than to play the combination. Now, he got an angle here that's fine.
If the 6 doesn't pass the 9, then he'll be forced to play position for the combination.
Of course, the easy pockets assist greatly in executing a successful combination.
If the 6 does not pass the 9, I look for Buddy to position the cue ball somewhere around the center of the table for position for the 6-9 combination.
Well, he's already made his mind up. I might play position for the 6 here. I really dislike combinations like this. I think this is better. This is a lot closer to 100% here.
Well, he was in an ideal position on the 4 to do exactly what he's done. But of course, even though you're in an ideal position, you still must have the skills and the touch to attain the type of angle that he has. He really wasn't happy with the way he struck that ball, and he seems a little disturbed. He seems to be distracted somewhat.
Well, this is okay. He'll just come 2 rails, and he doesn't care if he gets in the middle of the table. He'll cinch this 8-ball. Really pretty much just a high ball. You don't really need any English here. Oh, he overcut it.
Buddy's allowing the players that are on hand here to distract him a little bit. I noticed him, looking to the players or at the players and commenting, and he's not really playing within himself. He's being distracted by the presence of the players there, and I feel that that's going to hurt him.
Well, this is going to hurt a lot here. Instead of being 10-7, it's going to be 9 games to 8. And this, obviously, a critical match.
I think now would be an opportune time for Buddy to take a break and gather his wits.
And we've spoken of that many times in the past. Oftentimes, it's necessary to go out and compose your thoughts. All right, Pat Fleming says Buddy's taken his break already, and if I'm not mistaken, Billy, with the new rules, you're allowed only 1 break. Is that correct?
I believe that you're allowed 1 5-minute break. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone. You're allowed 1 5-minute break, but I really do believe that Buddy has allowed his peers and the players that are on hand watching him play in the semifinal match, has allowed them to distract him. He shouldn't be talking with them. He should be taking care of his business at the table like he does so good when he's doing it. So well when he's doing it, I should have said. Thank you.
And you just saw the Accu-Stats. 897, I believe. Nick's shooting that at the moment.
Okay, now Nick went to the other side of the table after seeing what success Buddy had in pocketing the corner ball, and he now is experiencing the same type of success, pocketing 4 balls on the break, but unfortunately he hasn't come up with a shot.
Well, he's got a couple of choices here. The shot I like is hitting the 3 fairly thin and coming down behind the 7 and 9. That's what he's looking at. He's a little too straight in to 2-rail a 3 between the 4 and 5 and play safe in that fashion. Now he wants to make sure not to hit the 3 and leave it in front of the side, and that's not going to be a problem. Low, right-hand English, and that's going to be ideal. Nick, of course, a great safety player. And never likely to overlook the obvious. All right, Buddy has no choice here but to go to the in rail. Johnny Archer's watching the match with interest. I don't think he really cares who he plays.
It's conceivable that Buddy could kick the 3 in the side here. Oh, he didn't even hit the 3.
Well, not necessary to look at that. He can't get a rail even if he should contact the 3. Okay, he's going to play the 3 in the side and probably the 4 in the left-hand side. And he wants a slight angle, I would suspect, on the 4 ball. And he's done that. Now he just kind of draw the ball over on the top side of the 5. Like to have a little angle. A lot of times a good player will draw this to the rail and out. Well, he was a little straighter in than we thought. Now he's perfect. Just punch it out one natural rail. Just below center, right English.
Looks like once again we're going to have a tied match with the score being 9 games apiece, and definitely the momentum has swung in Nick Varner's direction. Nick, certainly being the opportunist that he is, has taken advantage of Buddy's errors at the table. And now after game number 18, this match is all tied up at 9 games apiece, and definitely the momentum has swung in Nick Varner's favor. This is a race to 13. They're playing 4 out of 7 to see who will advance to the finals against Johnny Archer. And at this moment, if I had to predict a winner, most certainly it would be Nick Varner. He seems to be the most composed out there, and he's the man at the table with the break. And the break seems to have been a very important weapon in this match.
Well, I think one of the big keys is going to be Nick moving over to the side of the table that Buddy Hall has been using. Now he's...
he went forward. Now this is exactly what Buddy needed. Exactly what he needed. He needed to get back at the table, not only to get back at the table, but to get back at the table with a good shot so he can get back into the rhythm that he enjoys playing in. Now he must keep his mind on the game and not on what's happening on the rail.
All right, he does not want to be straight in on this, and I think he'd like to be a little inside out like this. Now he's got one natural rail.
Well, that's ideal because he wants to get straight in on the 4, and a good path to get straight in on the 4 would be just right straight cross table with the cue ball, like so. Oh, he's fallen a little bit short of his mark. Now he may have to go around the 5 here or use left-hand English.
He'll use left English here, I think.
Either way, either around the 5 or left-hand English.
And a cue that a player has confidence in helps an awful lot when you have to use that inside English.
Now, once again, he's really not that happy with the results. He sort of like has an awkward angle on the 5, so he'll just punch it, and the cue ball should go toward the 7. Now he's drawing it back.
All right, now this is natural. It looks awkward, but this is 2 rails natural, just a little right English. Maybe just a center ball, just above center, no problem. And that's ideal, I think. Now, I would just follow this down just a little bit. No reason to try to get on the other side of the 9. And he's done exactly that. And forthwith, Buddy Hall is going to be leading 10 games to 9. And it's every bit as interesting and as close an encounter as we at first suspected.
Pat, if you would, let's put the break stats back up on the screen. I'm anxious to see exactly what has happened in the break area. Now, Nick has scratched, to the best of my memory, Nick has scratched twice on the break. Let's take a look at it here. Okay, Nick has scratched twice on the break, and that stat right there is the reason why Buddy Hall is the man at the table with the lead in preparing to break the balls. That is a very crucial area when it comes to see who will win a match. If you scratch on the break with the Texas Express rules, you give a lot away. Nick Varner was guilty of that last rack. He had the momentum on his side. He was controlling the match, at least up to that point. And scratching on the break really may be what will undo Nick Varner in this particular match.
Now, Johnny Archer's joined us in the booth, fellas. And, Johnny, you don't really care who you play, do you?
Well, not really, because they're both great players, and I feel like there's no advantage playing one as it is the other. So.
Well, after that torrid 989 you shot last night, I wouldn't think that it would make any difference at all.
And for those of you who don't know what a 989 is, 1,000 is a perfect match, and one error in a race of 13 is a 989. And the type of error that happened against Johnny was so meaningless. He played himself out of position by about an inch. And that was the only mistake that he made in the entire match.
I'd like to ask Johnny something, because we've got a lot of folks that aspire to play at the championship level. How did you prepare yourself for today's activity, knowing that you'd already made the finals? Did you sleep any differently, or maybe a special diet?
No, I just slept a little bit longer.
Do you find it hard to sleep when you're in contention like this?
Not anymore. No, I was just out when I'm tired. I usually can go to sleep now. Used to, I was like that. Whenever I made it to the final day, I couldn't go to sleep. But I was watching a little golf and just trying to relax a little bit, and then took a shower and come down and ready to play.
Well, we've all enjoyed watching your sterling performances here this week, and we wish you the best of luck. One thing for sure, we know it'll be at the championship level.
Well, I hope so.
And
Thank you.
I certainly agree with that assessment, Grady. Thanks a lot for stopping up, Johnny.
Well, he's such a nice young man. You know, there's not a mean bone in his body. Everybody likes him around pocket billiards, and he's an asset to our sport.
Okay, Nick Varner should consider himself extremely fortunate to be back at the table, because the break has been a very valuable weapon in this particular match. Nick Varner gave that luxury to Buddy Hall when he scratched on the break in game number, I believe it was in game number 19.
Well, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty now, Billy. A mistake now by either player could spell defeat.
And that's what I thought happened against Nick Varner when he scratched on the break in game number 19, giving Buddy control of the table. Because as we, in retrospect, as we look back, when you win games, you win them in droves. And I thought that perhaps Nick Varner may have spelt defeat for himself by scratching on the break. Now look, he's allowed the cue ball to get totally off the path.
I'll tell you what, this is missable. He's out of line here. He's either got to elevate or roll forward.
And he's got a tough angle. He may have to even go into the 9 here, possibly.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay, now he shot this shot very, very well, realizing that to increase the accuracy of the shot, he didn't want to elevate that much, so he forced the cue ball into the 9, got great results, and now tied up the match at 10 games apiece. Now, Nick's the player at the table, once again, with the momentum. Even though he did scratch in game number 19, at that time he had the momentum. I feel that he still has it, and I feel that he feels that he still has it. He's going to take a break. He's going to take a break and go to the bathroom and freshen up a little bit. And when he comes back, you can bet one thing. You can be assured that he's going to break the balls well in game number 21.
And being ever professional, I would seriously doubt if his cue ball will go forward. Buddy's saying that Nick took 5 minutes to shoot every shot the first few games. And they say that everything equals out in life. I remember not so awfully many years ago when some of Buddy Hall's peers dubbed him Slow Death. But he's sped up considerably. I don't think they're playing all that slow, though, Billy. Do you?
No, I don't. I don't think that they're playing all that slow, but I'm not the one out there, Buddy is. And right now he feels that way, but I think that He shouldn't be complaining. He should be out there trying to win, and that's what I believe. And I don't think he should be talking to the players right now. I think he should be trying to get himself together and prepare himself for the last 6 games of this match.
Well, maybe he's doing this to loosen himself up. Everybody prepares themselves in different fashion. Like Mike Siegel, for an example, he's constantly talking to people who are close by, and he's won many a major tournament. Now, Buddy normally doesn't do this. Maybe he is still a little tight or tense, and this is his way of undoing the pressure. I don't know.
Look at the similarities there. The Hall pocketing 85 balls to Varner's 84. And position errors, 1 for Hall, 2 for Varner. Safety errors, 1 for Hall, 2 for Varner. Kicking errors, 1 for Hall, 2 for Varner. But look at balls missed. 7 balls missed by Buddy Hall, only 3 for Nick Varner.
I'm surprised that
now
7 is a lot.
Considerably more balls missed by Hall than Varner, but yet this match is tied up at 10 games apiece. And why is that? Because of the break. The scratch on the break is the reason why this match is tied up at 10 games apiece. Buddy's missed 7 balls to Varner's 3, but Varner scratched on the break twice. Hall hasn't scratched on the break. It's such a big factor when you go back and look at who wins matches, look at how many times, who scratched on the break, how many times.
Sure, it makes a big difference. I remember one of the first tournaments that Pat Accu-Stats that I played in. I did very well in the tournament. I don't remember how I finished exactly, but I only scratched once in the whole tournament. And that just makes a big difference. If you don't scratch on the break...
That's because you only played one match. Okay, thanks a lot for the view, Pat.
Look at that view of my nebulous associate.
Here, take a look at this melon here.
Shaped ideally for one pocket. We have a lot of fun, though. It's like a big happy family out here. And incidentally, I see Hal Mix has a Ross Perot pin on. And I, like a lot of other Americans, figure like this. It's not only a lesser of two evils choice, but could it possibly be worse than what we've looked at the last few years? I think the guy's got a heck of a good shot to win. I mean, taxes are ridiculous. You've got inflation and drugs and AIDS and congestion and the ozone layer and the rainforest and the illiterate, such as my semi-enjoyable friend to my immediate left. There's the Ross Perot pin. I'm just kidding about that. Billy,
I thought that was his elbow.
All right, we're preparing to return to action. 10 games apiece. How could it possibly get any better than this?
Does anyone have the time?
Nick Varner inspecting the rack, as is his wont.
I believe it's 10-3. The finals are scheduled to start at 4 o'clock. There are 5 remaining games, 5 possible remaining games in this match, and they've been taking about an average of 6 minutes a game. That means there could be another 30 minutes left in this match, which will bring it to 20 after 3, which will give us about 30 minutes to break. And that's what I need right now is at least a 30-minute break. Like to go to the restroom and freshen up a little bit, maybe.
Why don't you tell the truth? Why do you always try to cover things up? What you want to take a break for is to check on the progress of your wagers.
What? No, you mean sports wagers? No, I don't have any sports wagers. I happen to be relaxing this tournament. I'm not making any investments in any fashion.
That reminds me of the time that you decided you were going to beat the baseball. Now, that was hilarious. You were betting 8 or 9 games a day, and you were on the phone long distance, Every time you were in the car, you had the AM radio on to get every score, but you checked up a little short, did you not?
That's what one usually does when he fools around with the baseball. He checks up a little short.
All right, here we go. Textbook 9-ball, courtesy of Nick Varner and Buddy Hall. All right, it didn't go forward but a little bit. There goes a 9 on the break. 11 games to 10. Varner has forged an infinitesimal advantage.
That's the first time in the match that the 9 has been pocketed on the break. Now, yesterday in the match between Johnny Archer and Nick Varner, the man at the table now, Johnny Archer pocketed the 9 3 times on the break. Matter of fact, he broke the balls 12 times, pocketing 22 balls on the break.
And Reno, all of Reno is still abuzz at Johnny's virtuoso performance last night. What great pocket billiards. One tiny little error in 13 games. Actually, it's more than 13, 14 games, excuse me. Well, no reason, obviously, to change his break position.
Okay, it looks like Buddy Hall will make another appearance at the table in this match.
And he's not going to have a shot at the 1. He's going to have to roll out here.
He trails 10 games to 11, and like Grady said, he doesn't have a shot to the 1. He's going to have to roll out somewhere.
I think I might kick at this ball and try to hit the bottom side of it and get a safety. There's a lot of balls at the lower end of the table.
The 3 ball on the other side of the table is a very large ball. The 1 ball could go in that direction.
Well, he wants to hit beneath the 3, between the 3 and 7 anyway, because if he hits it thickly enough where the 1 would go into the 3, he could come close to scratching in the far left-hand corner. Right? Now, that's ideal. Nice shot.
Not only is it ideal, it looks like it's textbook.
Well, Buddy's not one to overlook a high percentage play. There wasn't any real good place to roll out there, and Nick's a great safety player. And we've spoken of this many, many times, Billy. It's hard to push out where you have an advantage against a great player.
There are some times when you can't push out, you know. Buddy, realizing that was one of those times, opted to kick at the 1 and got great results.
Sure. It was a calculated risk. Sometimes such an effort will result in disaster, but certainly not in this instance. Now, Nick wants to hit the left-hand side of the 1. He'd like the cue ball to go up maybe on the other side of the 5 ball. All right, he kicked at it differently, and it's better.
Well,
what a great shot.
The difference here is that when Buddy kicked, he gave Nick a little air to kick back. Now, the results here certainly indicate that Buddy doesn't have any air at all. Matter of fact, he's really going to be hard-pressed to even contact
No,
the
he'll
1.
hit this. 1 rail he'll go back up between the 6 and 8.
Between the 6 and 8?
Or
I
the
don't
9
think
and 8,
so.
excuse me, the 9 and 8. I just called the wrong ball, just like he's doing here.
I myself would go to tie up a ball here. I wouldn't try to attempt to hit this ball. He has to elevate, go the length of the table, and after he hits the ball, he has to make sure that he gets lucky enough not to give Nick a shot. And he does, by the way. What a recovery. Fantastic shot by Buddy Hall.
Well, Buddy's not likely to miss any reasonable 1-rail kick.
That was a reasonable 1-rail kick, length of the table, elevating the cue over a ball.
I would bet that I hit that ball.
Reasonable 1-rail kick. Well,
if you want to bet me even money I don't hit that kick, you certainly have action.
Well, listen, you may hit that kick in one of your exhibitions or practicing, but if there's any wager at all on it, I know you're not going to come within a foot of it.
Well, you're probably right. Now, he can 2-rail this, or he can thin the 1. The 2-rail safety seemed to me to be the best choice, but no, it didn't get away from him. Now, this, in my opinion, is a much harder kick than the last one.
I don't know if he's going to kick this. He could jump over the 4 ball. On the 760 surface, though, jumping over balls seemed to be quite more difficult.
Well, Buddy told me he doesn't even carry a jump cue with him anymore.
Well, I'm really surprised because Buddy really is an intelligent player, and I figured he realizes how invaluable the jump cue really is. And for him not to carry one in his bag is to his misfortune.
I don't understand it either. Sammy Jones or Pat Fleming would get over the 4 and 6 ball with ease. He wants to hit the high side of this. Nice hit. He's not going to be rewarded this time.
Okay, very quickly, I'll identify the balls on the table. The 2 ball is positioned on the bottom cushion near the lower left-hand corner pocket. The 7 ball is the ball that's inside of the corner pocket. The 3 ball is on the left-hand side rail near the side pocket. The 4 ball is by the right-hand side pocket. Oh, what do we see here?
All right, Nick got safe.
Well, Buddy's delighted because he's back at the table. He knows that he has to kick again, but Nick came up and missed the shot, and has given Buddy an opportunity at least to do something with it.
Well, he's got to go 1 rail here, I believe, and he's going to have to decide what he wants to do.
Well, he's going to kick to get lucky here. He has to go ahead and hit it with velocity because he can get lucky. The 7 ball's hanging. He could kick it in off the 4. He's got to kick it hard.
All right, Nick's going to have to play the 7 ball here.
Buddy seems a little disgruntled out there from what has transpired in the last 20 or 30 minutes.
But how many times have we talked about this? If he loses this match, missing that 8 ball is what cost him the match. Now, after that happened, Nick made it on the break and got safe when he missed, and that kind of thing happens. You have to pretty much take care of every reasonable opportunity you get against talented opposition. Now, that didn't have to turn out as well as this either.
Well, I don't know how well it did turn out. He still has to make either a 1-6 or a 1-4 combination, and after combinating, he has to control the 1 ball. So therefore, he does have some work ahead of him. He could have ended up with a much better shot than this, but again, he could have ended up with a poor shot. I'd say that what happened is on the norm, what figures to have happened. He still has to control the 1 ball and pocket the combination. And sometimes that's not easy.
And he has not done so.
That's right. Sometimes that's not easy. So therefore, Buddy may once again make an appearance in game number 22.
Well, he's almost certainly going to. Nick can see the 1 ball, but he has nothing he can do with it. In fact, he might even have to take a kick at this. Do you see any way to play safe, striking the edge of the 1? I don't.
No, I don't believe there is a possible
unless he could hit it thinly enough to go to the side rail right after hitting the 1 and miss the 8. Now, if he can do that, he's going to cross it.
He's going to try to play the 8, possibly.
No, he's going to go back up the table with the cue ball. Like so.
Well, you're right. Buddy will step to the table with a shot. It's not a very good shot, but it is a shot. I believe he can pocket the 1 in the lower left-hand pocket. Let's get a better angle on this. It's very marginal. I don't know if he can do it from this angle.
Well, I think he's got to shoot this. And if he makes it, he should go to the end rail and then into the 8.
He may miss the 8. He doesn't have a shot. He's struck this ball absolutely perfectly, setting it back up to the other end of the table, and even putting the cue ball in a position that I don't believe Nick can see the 1 ball at all.
No, he's going to have to kick at this.
Now, if you go back on this particular game, many times you thought that, he's in trouble. Well, Buddy's in trouble, or Nick's in trouble, and Buddy's in trouble, and Nick's in trouble. Well, this time Nick's in trouble, but he has the luxury of a 1-game lead.
Well, he's got something here. Can he shoot between the 5 and 2?
Maybe the window's there. No, he thought it was there, but inadvertently going into the 5, it looks like Buddy's the man at the table with control in game number 22. Buddy faces a 1-game deficit, 11 games to 10 in a race to 13. Very, very suspenseful here.
Well, he's very happy just to be at the table with a good shot. And we of course, are at the point in the match where either player could run out the set having a good shot to begin with.
It was important for Buddy to stay above the 2 ball, not below it, and it looks like it's very marginal whether he was able to do that. He was okay. He wanted to get straight in on the 3, considering the position of the 4 in front of the side. So if he can just hold the ball somewhere in the area where it's at now, that will suffice, which he does. 8's in front of the corner pocket. I don't see any problems at all out there at this time. Buddy Hall trails in the match 11 games to 10 but I have to make him a favorite to win the match, considering, once again, I don't want to seem redundant, but considering how well the balls have been breaking on the feature table.
Well, this is everything we could have asked for. It almost certainly is going to reach 11 games each. Well, Nick, when he shot the 1-6 combination, Billy, he didn't catch it quite like he wanted to.
It was obvious. But sometimes you just don't catch combinations exactly the way you want to when you have to both pocket the ball and control the object ball. So therefore, he had quite a task in front of him. He wasn't able to do exactly what he wanted to do, and it ended up costing him. After game number 22, this match is once again tied up
Accu-Stats.
11 games apiece.
Buddy Hall at 902 and Nick Varner at 861. That's remarkable that he could be at 902 having missed 7 balls. I don't understand that, Pat. Okay, 10 errors and 102 attempts. All right. Well, this is a high number of balls pocketed for both players, is it not?
Well, in 22 games, there's a possible 198 balls pocketed, and there's 189 up there.
In 22 games, there's how many?
189, 188, whatever.
198.
198. I don't know what I said. Did I say that, Pat? 198? All right, he's confusing me. It's about time you got rid of him. I want someone else up here. This guy is totally confusing me here. Okay? Give me a break, please.
Well, the absence of your company would distress me to no end. There's no question of that. Right there
One on
goes
the
the one on the
side.
side. The 8's going to go in, too.
And the 8 will leave the table. He does have a shot on the 2.
No, he
to do
doesn't have a
something
shot.
to do something with. I should have said.
Now, you know what he's going to do with this? He's going to knock the 2 ball over above the 3 and send the cue ball behind the 9 and 3. He'd like to go a couple of rails, just high left-hand English.
Okay, now this type of a shot isn't really as easy as it appears, so he has to take his time and make sure he executes the shot as well as he needs to, especially considering the score, 11 games apiece. It's a race to 2 out of 3 from this position. This is a very big shot in the outcome, or to decide the outcome of this match.
That's exactly correct.
Okay, now Nick Varner stepping to the table, and now he does not have the ability to go directly into the 2, but he does have a kick. And the type of kick that he does have some control over it. Grady?
Well, hitting the bottom side of the deuce, he has a chance to pass above the 3 without hitting it, and over to the rail, the lower left-hand side rail, and maybe back below the 9. I think that would be his best shot. He doesn't want to hit the 2 thickly anyway. He doesn't want to hit it thick enough where the cue ball is going to hit the 3. Of course, if he did that, there's a chance that the cue ball could hit the high side of the 3 and maybe go over behind the 4 and 5.
Okay, one other question. If you were to have to make a favorite in this particular game, who would it be, Nick Varner or Buddy Hall?
Well, I can't pick one. Now, another good shot here. You remember the one-pocket kick shot of this sort? If he hits the high side of the deuce easy, the 2 goes over behind the 4 and 5. All right, that's the shot I liked right there.
And that's why I asked you that question. If you had to pick a favorite in this game, who would it be? Your answer was, I can't pick one, because the execution of that shot was well within his ability. If he executed the shot the way he wanted to, Buddy Hall would have been faced with a very, very big problem. He executed the shot fairly well, but Buddy has a long, testy shot on the 2.
Well, that's 2 shots of a similar nature he's missed in the same corner.
The 8-ball was the other one.
I think it's worth mentioning, Bill, that Nick's one-pocket ability helps him a lot. Now, that's the kind of shot a one-pocket player knows almost automatically where the cue ball is going to go. And you notice it traversed the route that I predicted almost exactly.
Exactly.
All right, he's going to try to bend this or twirl it or twist it or masse it or curve it.
That's excellent speed. Excellent
Unless he gets
speed.
behind the 5.
Excellent speed. Oh, what a bad call. That had to be the worst call of the match by me. Excellent speed, and now he's behind the 5. Oh.
Okay, no big mystery here. He's got to go to the end rail.
Well, this game has really been suspenseful. I mean, so many times you thought the player at the table had the disadvantage or the advantage, and what happened? We were surprised.
Now, this is too far off the rail here to try to hit it thickly and knock it down up the other end of the table. Here, I believe that he should try to hit about, I don't know, a fourth of the ball or something, and maybe bank the ball back all the way down at the end where it is, and the cue ball maybe go up to the other end. Let's see what he tries to do here. Tough shot. It's too close for the jump cue, isn't it? Or I don't think it is.
I don't know. But the 760 surface is really a difficult surface to use the jump cue with.
Well, I think Pat Fleming could execute this jump shot.
Well, Pat Fleming can do a lot of things, Grady.
Pat says, are you trying to get a raise?
Oh, I wouldn't mind that.
Oh, now this is tough. Tougher than nails.
Now look, once again, unless I spoke too soon or too quickly, once again, the player who we thought was in a lot of trouble may have come out of it in a decent position or decent
Buddy's
shape.
got 2 or 3 choices here. The 3 is a little high to play the ticky on the 6th ball, and the ticky is a billiard term for rail first, ball, and then...
But if he decides to play the ticky, he must control the 3 ball. And to control the 3 ball is a task in itself.
Now, he's got some choices here. He could
play a one-pocket safety by
well,
going
he's not
rail
taking
first.
any time. I wonder
it.
how much of this ball he can see. I can play a one-pocket safety, right?
Oh,
a straight-on billiard, and he's going to be rewarded.
he certainly is. The cue ball eventually ending up in what may be ideal position for the 3 ball to stick right there for position on the 4.
You know, that was a great hit. Okay. Now he needs to make the 4. And personally, Billy, I wouldn't follow this. I would not draw either, just below center and come out for the 5 in the side pocket.
I'd just stay right around that area and play the 5 on the other side.
He was a little straighter in than I thought. He's shaking. He's just trying to compose himself.
Are we talking too loud? I don't know.
I don't know.
I hope it's not us.
So do I. Nice shot.
Buddy seems a little nervous out there, and when he was talking to the players, I felt that was just a sign of being nervous. This is game number 23. Buddy will be the first one to reach the hill position.
Well, I don't know how you could watch any better 9-ball, Billy. Nick made a great shot from a tough position, and I'll tell you, another half an inch, and Buddy can't even see the 3-ball. And Buddy recognized instantly the very makeable billiard, which required a pinpoint hit.
Well, the way that he chose to pocket the 3-ball, or the 6-ball, I should have said, the 6-ball was the correct way, because now he no longer has to control the 3-ball with the ticky that was available. By playing the thin billiard hit, the 3-ball would get very little movement. The cue ball would then move much quicker up table behind the 3, which it eventually did, and then he ended up in an ideal position to run the remaining balls on the table. Now, this is the last opportunity Buddy Hall will have to break the balls in this match, and so he has to make sure that he contacts the hit ball solidly.
Well, when I'm in this position, Billy, I say to myself, hit it solidly and don't knock the cue ball off the table. Now, for Nick Varner, a great opportunity. The 4 goes in the side. He was kind of grimacing there. I don't think the combination is very on.
That's that one crucial area that we referred to earlier in the telecast is the scratch on the break. It's such a crucial area. You must not scratch on the break.
Well,
when
that's
you play
Buddy's first
world-class
one, isn't
pool.
it?
That's Buddy's first one. Buddy has missed 8 balls, I believe, to Nick's 3 or 4. But Nick has scratched on the break twice to Buddy's none. So therefore, Buddy now has scratched on the break. This could be the determining factor to see who wins this match.
Well, the possibility is certainly imminent that we're going to have a hill match. All right, he's got a pretty good angle here to kind of punch down for the 4 ball.
He would love to end up somewhere around the foot spot, slightly below the foot spot.
I think he'll risk going all the way over around the spot here because he's got to have an angle where he can get on the 5. Now, he can do it here. And
I thought that's what I just said. I thought I said he wants to attain the angle somewhere around the foot spot.
Okay.
Okay, now he's going to have to be careful here because he's going to brush the 8. Now, the 7 ball may come into play after he brushes the 8. So
well, I would use right English here, Billy,
and
and
go
beyond
around
the 7. If you use left English, the 7 could come into play after you hit the 8
Right.
and then the rail.
I agree. I would go around the 7.
Let's
Okay,
say
well, he didn't go around the 7.
Well, he used left English.
And not only didn't he go around the 7, he went into the 7. He's got himself an awkward angle on the 5. If he would have went around the 7, the angle on the 5 would have been much more suitable to play position for the 6.
That really surprises me. I don't think, and I don't second guess a Nick Varner very often, but I don't think he thought about that quite long enough. It looks to me like around the 7, he had to have a decent angle on the 5.
Right. That's the reason why there's so much indecision out there right now on Nick's part. He's trying to figure out how to play position for the 6. Had he gone around the 7 with right-hand English, he would have been at center table, and there wouldn't have been any indecision. It would have been automatic. All he had to do was draw the ball up table for position on the 6. Now he has a slight problem.
Well, he's going to use a lot of spin and come over between the 8 and 9 and try to put the cue ball about where it is now. Oh, no, okay, he didn't. He went 2 rails like so. Boy, what a nice shot that was.
He made a nice shot, and he had to hit that shot with the strokes that he used to get to that position. By trying to play position for the left-hand side, with the cue ball at the left-hand side pocket for position on the 6 in the upper right-hand corner, it was a very, very touchy shot. He elected to go all out and to use a good stroke.
Virtually no English, just straight up the table. All right, it's almost certainly going to be a 12-12 match in just a moment. Now, personally, I put this where I don't have to draw it. I'd just rather go right over, straight ahead a few inches. But there's nothing wrong with doing this either. Just punch this out 1 rail, low left English, and he's in great shape.
He certainly is, and can you ask for anything more? 12-12, 1 more game to decide who will face Johnny Archer in the finals of the Sands Region, number 15. Will that scratch in the side prove to be fatal for Buddy Hall?
Well, it most certainly could prove to be fatal. Well, let's see which side Nick breaks from. I think he's got to go over on the same side of the table that Buddy Hall has selected. There's a nice shot of Nick in repose, preparing himself for possible victory and congratulatory words.
And that's one of the reasons why Scott Smith is one of the premier directors of the game today, because he realized the score is tied up 12 apiece. Let's commend both players right now because they certainly deserve it.
That they do. You could hear a pin drop in the room.
Okay, nothing yet on the break. Nothing yet, and Buddy Hall will make an appearance one more time, or at least one more time.
Well, he's going to have to play safe here because he can't bank this and get on the 2.
Oh, I disagree. I disagree with that assessment immediately. The 2 ball is positioned near the lower left-hand corner pocket, and I do believe he can bank it cross-side and stiffen it and hold the cue ball right where the 1 is, or even more toward the 2. I think he must go for this bank because he can grab this victory right now. I think he's going to go after it.
Well, that he did. All right, this is the part of it I saw a problem with. He's got to go off with a 7 ball. Now, here's a place where I think you use no English. You don't need inside English here, because with no English, you have an excellent chance to not hit the 4 ball with the cue ball.
Now, there's a good possibility that he can avoid contact with the 7 ball by hitting the 2 ball very fully, applying a little bit of right-hand English on the cue ball. There's a chance he will avoid contact in the 7.
All right. If that's the case, it's a little closer to straight in than I suspected.
But maybe it isn't. Maybe he must deal with the 7. This is another suspenseful situation.
He's looking at spinning below the 7 and coming entirely around the 7 and 9 and playing the 3 and 5.
That's very risky. If he happens to brush the 7, he could end up back at the 8-9. Oh, he got away with it. He got away with it. That was really a fortuitous kiss he got there.
My friend, he got away with murder.
He got away with it. Look at the expression on Nick Varner's face. If you could only see Nick Varner now. It looked like all the blood left his body when he saw what happened.
All right. Well,
this is the key shot of the rat, position from the 4 to the 5. All the other balls seem to be lying really nicely. Not much to it. Not much to it from here, Grady.
All he has to do is stay away from the side, and he wants to get... Well, I wouldn't want to be straight in on the 6 here, because you want an angle on the 7 where the cue ball is not on the rail. Now, this is ideal, because now he can pull it off the rail just a little bit. And you got to come above the 7 here. There's no angle below the 7.
Absolutely. The ideal angle will be above the 7, but if you go too far above the 7, you risk the chance of hooking yourself.
No, he can draw this
I
back
think
3 or
that
4
even
inches.
if he gets straight in with the 7, it's okay, because he can stop right there for position for the 8 at the other corner.
Now, he's perfect here, because he'll use inside English and go 2 rails.
He may not even need any English.
Yeah, I think he needs a little
Maybe
inside.
a half a tip or so.
Yeah, right. Not much.
We're not going to be able to do an interview with the winning player here. We don't have enough tape on. We're sorry to say that, but sometimes that's the way it be. And it looks like the winner of this match is going to be Buddy Hall. I'm going to tell you, this was a sharply contested match by both of these players. They really deserve a hand. Buddy Hall will face Johnny Archer in the finals.
Well, Billy, since we don't have time to do an interview, and we've only got a couple of minutes, in review, it wasn't an especially well-played match, yet I thought both players showed a lot of fortitude. It was certainly entertaining. There's a lot of lessons to be learned from this match. And for you and
I'm having problems hearing Grady with my headset. Is there a problem back there with the audio?
All right. It has been...
I don't hear Grady. I hear you, Pat.
It has been a rare and unprecedented pleasure to work with you.
Rare and unprecedented.
You were not your usual arrogant, boisterous self today. And with that, my friend, I'm going to bid you adieu and get ready for the finals.
All right, Grady. It's been once again. It really has been a pleasure. I think Buddy's working his way up here, and I would like to ask him a very quick question. We have about 2 minutes, and there's something I really want to say to him, and it's been on my mind for about a half an hour now. Buddy is now embracing his son, which is a beautiful picture. But very quickly, let me see if this mic is on. If the mic, Buddy. Well, that was a very, very suspenseful match. It could have went either way. Fortunately, it went your way. You showed tremendous heart coming back and taking the match away from Nick Varner.
Well, thank you. I don't know what to say. I'm kind of speechless at the minute.
I may seem a little bit critical right now, but there's something that's been on my mind, and I just want to bring it up. When the players sat here in front of you, Dave Bowman, Steve Miserak, Alan Hoppins, they distracted you because you started to talk to them. You were playing within your game. You were playing beautifully. That's when you started to make those few mistakes that might have cost you the match. It looked like they distracted you, and I didn't want to see that happen, but it looked like to me that's what happened.
Well, I never thought about it. I didn't realize it, but there's a lot of merit to what you said there. It really is. If you've got two conversations going, it's hard to keep up with both of them.
That's exactly right. You were playing a big match. It was to see who goes into the finals against Johnny Archer, and all your concentration needed to be focused on the match. I think
You're
divided
exactly
that
right.
concentration, and it almost cost you the match.
You're exactly right. Well, at this tournament, I've finished 5th and 6th. I've finished 4th. I've finished 3rd. Now I'm in 2nd. But I hope I skip this spot. You
want to jump over number 7.
Right.
And this is also a big match for points for Player of the Year and also the number 1 ranked player. So there's a lot to this match besides just the trophy and the money.
Well, they've only had one other MPBA event this year, and I happen to be lucky enough to win it. So if I win this one, I'll have 2 PBA events this year, and I'll be the only one that's won one.
Well, I'll tell you what, I couldn't think of or pick up a better man that's deserving of being Player of the Year and a number 1 player than yourself. You certainly have passed the test of time, and you showed everyone out here, especially today, the relentlessness inside of Buddy Hall.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Bill. You're my pal.
Congratulations, buddy, and good luck in the finals. Okay, that's about all the time we have. So if you're interested in this tape, give Pat a call, 1-800-828-0397, and we'll be right back with Hall and Archer.